third check. We got to.
You gotta get used to these big cards.
Hello, world.
Thank you.
Oh, that's always nice to take down the first one.
Hello, internet. You guys hear me? I can't hear myself.
Yeah,
I
but
can
that
hear
won't be on
you.
the
We can
screen.
turn your
Yeah,
volume
that
up.
doesn't
That's
count.
the issue.
Oh, is that what they said?
Yeah,
said
he
5
said
minutes
first couple of
something.
hands.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Save up your one time.
Yeah, you already up here one time.
You can't get up and cash out now. Say you were winning.
That's nuts.
Do we have enough people for a second game? Or what? Do we have enough people for a must move? I think it's.
Mic check 1, 2.
It's a pretty good spot. 60 points. 100 raises to 50. We'll drop it.
It's not compulsory. No.
That's 50?
It is 50.
That is 50.
By the way, the recording starts in a few minutes. We're not live until 7 o'clock. I misspoke.
Mic check.
Banana.
Okay, so since the recording hasn't started yet, again, I missed what he said. I'm not supposed to
Put it close to your face.
We're not supposed to get any
You
information.
don't need it, but
Rates from anybody. Nobody
It doesn't really text
Mike.
you.
like
Oh, a half
That's
hour
much
ago,
better.
Brad
Much better,
loved
isn't
you.
it?
You can do that. Oh, you can.
Much better in that it's audible.
Just don't bring your phone out at the table. You can go to the take a break from the table.
Right. You can't like get a thing in. Oh. Oh.
Raise to 40 from the top. 40.
what number am I?
3.
You are 3 and I am 2.
What's the pulse 40?
You say so.
I know so.
Let me check.
Two checks later. That's 60.
Welcome to Bellagio Poker on the Strip. Wow, we're just getting right into the action, joining the game action. Looks like we already got a set of aces against the gut shot.
Surrender.
Surrender.
Man, we could have fireworks right off the rip.
And he's just gonna. Wow. Okay, so we have. We got to do a lineup here, John.
All right.
So I'm Dallas Scott, by the way. I'm your host of Bellagio Poker on the Strip. My co-host, Mr. John Harden.
Hey.
And our illustrious director, Mr. Craig Lump, is not here tonight. So we actually have our associate producer, Mr. Harry, in the house with us tonight.
Hello.
Harry's going to be our on-the-spot guy for information we know nothing about.
Oh, yeah.
So
YouTube
you're
videos,
You're going to be working very hard tonight.
random facts. I'm all over it.
So
As you can tell, we're joining a game in progress. 5-5-10, no limit hold'em.
this is the Owens and Neeme game, or Neeme and Owens games. Which is correct there? Does it
I don't
matter?
know. I don't know if
I
they flipped the
believe
coin. You're
it
supposed to do
is-
it alphabetically, right?
That's true. So Andrew and Brad,
Yeah.
Oh,
Neeme, A, B.
Owens and Neeme?
But what they're calling it is the Mugs.
The
Meetup
Mugs.
Series,
Meetup
the meetup games.
Okay, there we
series.
go.
The
You'll
word mugs also describes a little bit of how they like to enjoy themselves during these games.
You'll
the
see
Vegas
Mr.
area.
Owens in the 2 seat, Mr. Neeme in the 7 seat tonight. Dean in our 6 seat, he's a prior participant in the meetup game. Mr. Ron Corey in the 3 seat. He's a Bellagio regular who was on a couple weeks ago for us and absolutely had a great time. and he wants to be on as much as possible. So Ron's probably going to be a good staple for us in these games.
Absolutely. Seat number 1, I believe, is Andrew Schwartz of Henderson, Nevada, originally from New York. He's been out here about 12 years. Consultant, recreational, tight, aggressive player, so he claims. We'll see if that prediction comes to fruition. Who else we got here?
Who's in seat 4?
Seat 4. Harry, you got the
C4, we
lineup?
have Vlad. Vlad's
Vlad.
last name.
Oh, yeah, that's the guy that you're afraid of, right, John?
Vlad Dwosyan? Apologies.
We got to do better than that.
Apologies. Hometown of Chicago.
Dwoskin.
Dwoskin?
Dwoskin.
Duskin.
That's what I'm going to go with.
All right. If it's, moving on. 9 years been playing poker, considers himself to be a grinder. Claims to have once won 3 tournaments in a single day.
4 times.
4 times 3 tournaments in a single day.
That's pretty impressive.
Now, are they live tournaments, or are we talking about
Sit and goes. $1.10 sit and goes
It
on
just
Poker
says
Stars in
3 daily
2006.
tournaments. Yeah.
3 daily tournaments? That would suggest to
times
me
a day.
that they were live, which is quite impressive.
Yes.
I don't know how you find time to play 3 tournaments a day.
I guess you can order a sandwich at the table from time to time. Vlad,
How
not
do you
one
feel?
to be
Let's-
deterred.
Since you're the head waiter in Bobby's room
Yes,
here,
sir.
John, how do you feel about eating at the table?
I have no problem with it. Here's the thing. Obviously, not all food is created equal. My favorite story to tell is back before I came out to Vegas. I helped run some poker games in and around the city of Atlanta. And one gentleman who ran a game decided he was going to have a barbecue rib night at his poker game.
Genius.
So,
Absolutely genius.
It was unbelievable. So the game wraps up. We have to take the entire layout and throw it away, take all the cards used for the entire night and throw them away because they're all wrecked. And JR was his name. He's passed away now, but JR was furious. These guys have no respect for, coming into a nice establishment and playing a game, and it's like, you don't think any of that had to do with the fact that you serve barbecue ribs at a poker game?
Like, I've never seen anybody eat ribs with a fork. I'm just saying.
That's
like,
a firm.
Maybe a McRib, from McDonald's, you could probably cut up with a fork.
Yeah.
It looks like Andrew, Mr. Neeme here, has got a pair of 5s.
Yeah, he opened it first in, got defended, made 1 C-bet, turn goes check. No love for the 2 5s against the mystery hand of Corey in the 9 seed. What do we know about Corey here? Corey Pisano from New Orleans. We're not going to pronounce it the other way.
Narland.
That was
This is not the first time Corey's been on TV. He actually was on the he was on Shark Cage, which was not actually shown in America. It was a European show. Yeah, our friend Ronnie Bardo had the most notorious
This
bluff.
is a poker show? Oh, this is where
The Miss Finland
Miss
bluffed
Finland
our friend
got him
Ronnie
good.
Bardo, with nothing, and Ronnie lays down trips.
Yeah. Shark Cage Season 2.
When I went on YouTube and tried to verify this, I did find an audition video from Mr. Corey Ponsano. I'll probably post it in chat.
Now
so,
you're saying an audition
confirm
video to get onto this
to get on the Shark
program?
Cage, right?
I had
Yep.
images of him shuffle box, pitching cards.
Big
Not
man.
what we're talking
Tonight's game
about.
is a 5-5-10, no limit. Min buy-in was 500, max buy-in 2,000 tonight.
Yeah. Our normal 5-10 game is 400 to 1,500 with
Right.
just the 2 blinds. We decided with the 3rd blind to change it just a little bit. Fold all the way to the button here. Ron's picked up the Queen 9 of spades and said good enough. Opened it to 40 and got defended by 2 of the blinds. Picked up a gut shot against top pair and squadouche for Andrew.
And we know that Ron has no problem c-betting.
They're trying to.
Oh, he checks this
Knuckles
time. He just
it.
makes a liar out of me.
Foot and
I
knife.
was just discussing. Okay, so
Go left just a smidge, see what happens.
Dean's going to bet top pair here. It's a $95 pot.
Not you,
just a chip.
$40 is probably winning this pot for him, right? It's 2 flush draws out there. Yeah, $40 is the bet.
Ron drawn to the second nuts here. Could peel a card.
Yeah, and wants to, which is probably why we got that check on the flop in the first place. He's got enough equity to continue. He doesn't want to get raised off that equity
Oh, they do have.
by a strong hand that his opponent could have flopped here.
The cameras are sick.
And so he gets to the turn. He gets to the river rather for the minimum, where he doesn't improve.
Just checks back. Gets a showdown as cheaply as possible with the old second nut draw.
Looks like Dean's going to show a pair of kings, and Ron's going to give up the hand, obviously.
This is on a 30-minute delay, Elliot.
Yes. Yeah, we cannot broadcast live. Nevada Gaming does not allow that. In any anything you see on television or on streamed is somehow delayed per Nevada Gaming. You'll notice that we do not allow phones or communication devices at the table. And that's, again, those are legal problems, issues that we have with gaming. And it's fair, right? Because you don't want somebody texting somebody in the middle of a hand.
Yeah.
You know, if you get if I send you the 3 texts in a row, that means call. If I send you to, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, delays in the Twitch Pro Pool world at this point are standard, and we do make a great effort to interact with chat
Right.
on our own.
Yes.
So.
Oh. What's Brad wake up? Oh, Brad always seems to wake up those big hands from his last time. He had all the jacks, aces, kings, and queens. He's going to raise the 40. I'm assuming Dean's calling for sure here in the first blind.
3-bet's not out of
he
order here,
3-bets
and
it. He
that's what
does
he
3-bet
decides
it.
to do. Looks like 120 to Andrew with the pocket ones.
Wow.
That's a sweet little situation.
Way to
right
get the
there.
night started. Is Andrew's not flatting here, right? Or maybe he does flat. Maybe he hopes that Brad makes a play behind him.
No, I think
because there's
Harry,
nothing
you
like
think the cold 4-bet's coming in here?
Yeah, today
to.
this is 2017.
There it is.
When
There's
your
the cold
cards
4-bet.
when your cards read ace and ace or king
But you got to
and
tell the
king,
truth. There's nothing like stacking your friends.
you put your chips in the pot.
Bad news. Rob is one
Has
of the
one-
2 remaining jacks. Going to get out of the way here. How's Brad going to play this? 320. It's a relatively small 4-bet.
This
What's
is a
Brad's
pretty
stack?
difficult spot for
180,
him.
1850 effective.
2 options here for Brad. He is in position.
He is, but
Because of that, I can see
A 3rd option.
the other problem is though that he
possible
does
third
not
option,
know
but-
what Dean is going to do behind him here, right? Because Dean is still left behind him, and he's already
And he put the
3-bet
3-bet in.
Wow,
Right,
Yeah.
what a great fold.
Just open fold. Lose $40 with 2 jacks on the cutoff.
That's an amazing play.
Must be nice.
Not easy to call off
Andrew might just win the minimum here.
20% of your effective
I think
stack.
sometimes winning the minimum is okay,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Nice pickup.
Wow.
Andrew with the 2 aces. Very, very nicely played, sir. Sometimes some chips are better than losing a lot of chips. Okay, I just stated the obvious there, didn't I?
You might have.
Yeah, okay.
5-5-10. No limit hold'em. Welcome back for season 2, episode whatever the heck we're on now.
I think this is 5, right?
Yeah, this is 5 of 12.
Yes.
Here for a while, guys.
Next week is PLO, right?
Yes,
We're playing
5-5.
PLO.
3K cap, I believe, is what we settled on. We were worried about the game blowing up too big if we made it 5-5-10, and then the 20 goes on, and then all of a sudden these guys are just all in every other hand. Puts it out of the price point for a lot of players that want to play on the show, I fear. Yeah, 3K cap, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tonight, again, we're going to have some interesting hands here tonight, and I think the reason it's going to be interesting is because a lot of people like to come on with this and to play the stream, and they're not necessarily 5-10 players.
Yeah.
So they're 2-5 players. So how are they going to react when they're put to the big decisions? I mean, last time that we had the Neeme game, we saw some guys really tank for a very long time with hands that we thought were obvious calls.
Well, the thing is, from our perspective, too, when all the cards are face up, it is a little easier to make a decision. We got a 4-way flop here.
Spade
not a
draw
lot
for
of
Vlad.
love.
Spade draw for Vlad. Corey's got top pair. He can't like his kicker
Top
here.
pair with the deuce versus the 7-high flush draw. I can't imagine that this one's going to get too terribly bloated.
Vlad
No,
bets here.
this is a check calling hand for sure, out of position from Corey.
No, he's going to give it up. He was the blind. He's not going to defend here.
Easy peasy.
And I think what kind of part that's going to make this interesting dynamic is because we have players who are playing above what they normally play, and then we have players like Ron Corey who's playing way below his normal game. I mean, can he put these guys to tough decisions?
Possibly.
You know what I mean? Because
Time will tell.
a rebuy from Ron is not necessarily a big deal, as big a deal to other players as it is to other players here. And we saw from the last stream that Ron isn't afraid to give action.
That's correct.
Yeah, that mentality definitely comes into play more often in a cash game for sure.
Yeah. The guys that have
playing
the
2K
stop
behind, but
loss.
really it's
Right.
more than that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's significant percentage of these guys that they're not probably willing to get into this game for 6,000.
Right.
Others are.
This is an interesting hand. Dean, of course, I mean, he's in the cutoff with ace-9 suited. He's raising. Andrew makes a standard call with a queen-jack out of the blind,
Andrew's
the small
coming
blind. And Andrew, the other Andrew S., has a pair of 8s, which is clearly ahead right now. Again, I'm stating the obvious. Let's see how many times we can do that tonight.
One check to Dean, puts the c-bet in. Andrew lets go of the queen high.
Would not be wrong for Andrew to call here with a pair of 8s, because it's hard. We all know it's hard to make a pair and hold them.
I'm going to go ahead and predict trouble as the night goes on of Andrew and Andrew.
Yeah, we're going to call Neeme.
Yeah,
And we'll call
that
Andrew
seems
Andrew.
like the fair solution. These are kind of the things we should probably get figured out ahead of time.
Bad river card for Andrew. He could have bet there, though, maybe, and tried to represent the 7.
Just
Would have put Dean to a test.
Insta knuckles.
Not sure if that story
No attempt for value.
would hold up in Dean's mind. The 8 seemed like a pretty good check call, check fold type hand in this spot
That's
here.
fair.
Yeah.
Introductions going on at the table. We did join a game in progress, but only by a couple minutes. So a lot of these guys are not familiar with each other. That is the function of the meetup game. Harry, can you tell us how the
explain
how
the
this
meetup
works
game to us,
exactly?
Harry.
So, for anyone unfamiliar, Andrew Neeme's got a popular YouTube series vlog wherein he details his life playing professional poker here in Vegas, which I think is some really great production
The
quality.
trials and tribulations of check raising.
It is.
Calling in the dark.
The production quality is really what the best aspect of it is. The trials, it's not necessarily a lifestyle vlog. It's
Okay.
more like some poker hands and some really nice shots.
I don't want
and
the
some
$10
nice music as well. So anyway, what that manifested into was a series of meetup games that happened here in Vegas by way of he and Brad Owen extending invitations to their viewership.
We got a hand going on here. Rob raised with
good
pocket
grief.
4s. Wow.
Poor Brad.
Brad, he just always wakes up with the monsters, right?
Yeah, it folds all the way to the button with Rob. He opens the 2 4s. Andrew
Standard.
just flats the 2 10s. And Brad's going to go ahead and put it to...
This might be the time when
170.
it might be okay to actually flat the 10s there out of the blind against the wow.
His hand is very well disguised.
We don't know much about Rob, so maybe is he a player that just likes to, I mean, he's in position here with pocket 4s. It's 130 to call. It's a big bet to call.
What's the effective stack there, though? It's 2,000.
Yeah.
So, no, it's not. It's 1,800. Woo. Right on the cusp.
Now,
of
can
playability.
Andrew fold here with the 2 10s? Why does he not? I mean, maybe he thinks that Owen is squeezing here, which would have been a great play for him.
That looked like he put a 4-bet in there. I wasn't just that sure.
Oh,
Right in the door.
Yahtzee.
Right in the window.
There's going to be a pot here. I like the check. Andrew's never checking here. I'm sorry, Brad is never checking here.
Yeah, especially with a flush draw out there and some straight draws, he's got to protect.
I don't know. There's a lot of very
Protect his hand a little bit
discountable straight draws. The way this went down.
If you're Andrew here, you're flat, right? It's 120.
Yeah, the straight draws, absolutely. Ace king of diamonds is still a thing. Ace queen of diamonds. Although, I don't know about a call out of position from a suited ace queen here. So if there's a raise that comes in,
I'll
at
be
some
just
point,
flats. I don't mind the flat
Brad's
here,
gotta ask himself
unless
some
you put
questions.
Andrew on the diamond draw. Oh, Yahtzee card.
Perfect turn card.
Can they get the rest in here? 600 in the middle and 1,500 behind it. I mean, this is knuckle
wow.
shine.
Good check. Good discipline check from Brad.
Wow.
That might save him about 800 to that 1500.
Yeah, he's gonna call just about anything that he's putting in the pot here on the river. Wow.
I like the check back though. I love the check back here by Andrew.
Andrew checked the third time here.
Yeah, love
that
this.
ends up being a very nice check for him.
Yes. I think if he raises here, Brad gets away from this hand pretty easily. I think he smelt the trap on the turn.
I mean, that ace queen of diamonds comes back into play though here on this river.
But that hand Brad is not afraid of. I mean, he's actually hoping that that's what Andrew has here to pay him off.
No, in Brad's mind, this is absolutely a bet for value here.
Yeah.
Does not expect the top set to check it 3 times.
You think Brad is possibly going to find a fold here?
I'm looking at Andrew. It looks like he's only counting out a call.
I don't know that I could find a fold here.
No.
But I think that players better than me could.
Oh.
And in fact, I believe I've seen it.
There it is. The call.
Instant.
But apparently
call,
not.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess I'm not alone.
So what was the raise to? It was to 900. So, yeah, by checking back the turn, Brad may well have saved himself about $600, $700.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
That was a well-played hand by Andrew. The third check really got him paid off there, right? Because he really was representing it. When the queen comes off, he's representing a hand like ace, queen, or king, queen of diamonds there.
Yeah.
You know.
Brad's
Well,
never.
I mean, Brad can also get into that spot with like some jacks, pairs of jacks.
Right.
He can get there with queens also, which makes that river particularly disgusting
Yes.
sometimes. But really, what he's trying to do is get the maximum amount from hands like exactly what Brad had, kings and aces.
So you think that checking your whole range there is on occasions a good?
It depends
Situation.
on how much I
Dependent.
think my opponent has kings or aces. I
Yeah.
guess.
Right.
It's, with a player like Brad,
They're actually talking about it right now.
Greg
Andrew's
Larson.
I think it is. I think Brad is going to show up with a good hand there a lot of the time. Whether it's as strong as kings or aces, I think maybe.
What's the worst hand he shows up with? 2 jacks or
Yeah,
the ace queen off?
I think we started talking about it a little bit. The queens and the jacks and.
Slightly
that's
weaker
about it.
holdings this go around. Folds all the way to Corey.
And
Opens
on the
the
bud.
7-5 of spades.
Look,
And
Brad's
Brad's got
again.
another fun hand. Back to back.
course
Blind
he's 3-bet,
defense. 3-town once again.
I believe last time Brad won all of his big pairs and big hands. His ace kings.
He had one pair of jacks that he never really put an aggressive chip into a pot. Here he's just going to 3 it and take it down. Yeah, he took a flop flatting out of position with 2 jacks, and the flop came off like queen XX, and he just let it go in a 3-way pot. But
You'll see Mr. Neeme got up and he walked over today. That is actually our Twitch must move table tonight. 5-5-10 must move game.
making some introductions.
Yeah.
And we try to put one of those on for just about every game that we get going here. We've got some 5-5 PLO coming up. We got another 5-5-10 no limit hold'em going on in early November 5th and 6th.
And then
25-50, and we'll have must moves for all those games. So if you're interested, come on down, and we'll get that list moving. Maybe we'll get your seat in the stream.
hopefully Brad doesn't get the trifecta of out of position mandatory players. Although I guess, 3-bet take it down is not exactly the worst case scenario for the ace-jack in this middle to $5 blind.
Yeah, Brad is starting off a little unlucky tonight with losing with the jacks and the kings. Running into the overpair aces and then running into the underpair flop set.
Dean active early here, another
He has been
pair.
pretty aggressive.
Rob gonna tag along with the jack-10 of diamonds.
I don't mind that calling
Yeah, not
position.
the worst. Not the worst. Jack 10 of diamonds.
Brad's calling here in the blind with the. Brad's seen
He's off tilt already.
Dean open up kind of light or play position well tonight, opening in position. So of course 8-8 of clubs is a good hand there for him.
Nothing flop for all three.
I think.
Do you know it's a check, sir?
Do you like the checking here of the 3-handed pot, checking 10s on that flop? I mean, it's kind of a
Some of
dry
the time.
In
board.
the middle position, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Keep at 70s.
Now he can't
I mean,
call,
when you
right?
No, I think that you do. I
When
think
it-
you
when
call
a-
one time and then you fold later streets. Your hand's too strong to lay down here to one overcard.
Wow. And then Neeme calls. Owen calls behind.
That is enough to maybe scare some tens out.
Yeah.
There it goes.
I think if he bets there, he can represent the king.
What is Brad planning
but
on
if he,
doing?
if he
here?
does bet there, he really gets punished.
Brad's going
by
to
a
float
king
and take his
Brad,
hand away.
Brad really gives these guys not enough credit to make a multi-street attempt at stealing this one. It looks like it's going to work out for him.
I once heard.
Maybe Brad just knew he was going to go runner flush. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Kings and jacks
What do
don't
you
work.
do when you know it's coming?
Well, kings and jacks don't work. Let's go runner.
Not a
As
lot.
far as how Brad gets here with this ace high to begin with, I think sometimes when you see boards like this, these dry king high boards or these 3 flush boards, it's very difficult to a lot of hands that have a piece of this flop are going to want to check it unless you have like exactly ace king or maybe like a king queen. You're trying
Well,
to get
he
some
definitely
value,
didn't put
but-
Rob on a hand like that because he just flats the
second in
Right.
the steal. in the
So
hijack.
when you bet out in that spot, it's
Wait,
like,
what's
what are you
the
saying, really? You're saying you have
But
exactly
I mean,
ace
he
king.
could have also had a hand
It's
like
tough.
he could have been representing a hand like jacks or tens when the kings check to him in position. Why would you not? I mean, he's going to bet his hand there and not give off any free cards if he's got jacks or tens or maybe even nines or something like that.
I think if it were me personally and I had, let's say, nines, eights through queens on the king 7-5, and it checked to me, I might consider a delayed c bet. Check, see if that second overcard does come off. Because if you do bet there, you get into a tough. Players can put you in tough spots with their draws, as well as you get into some tough spots.
But that was a
against some
pretty
kings.
dry board for draws. I mean, he's got to have. I mean, Brad's got to have a hand like 8-6, 6-9, 4-6, or something like that, and. Do you put that in his range there, calling out of the blind with that?
Yeah, calling
after it's been
third in, it's possible.
out of position.
I think what you want to do when you bet really is you want to ask yourself, why do we bet? We bet to
win
get
the
our
pot.
opponents. Well, I mean, we bet to get our opponents to fold better and call with worse. Right?
Got-
Those
got
are the
an
two
interest-
options we want.
Got an interesting one here.
So how do we get that done on the king
Ron's
high
got a
board?
gut shot.
Folded to Andrew on the button, and he opens the ace 10. Ron comes along, Dean comes along. Oh, excuse me. Andrew's in the cutoff. The graphic here is incorrect by 1 seat, but the narrative's still the same. Yeah, top pair against the wheel draw. Ron's just going to get out of the way. How many streets of value can Andrew get out of this?
Oh,
None.
he's not getting any.
None.
No, Ron did not get. Ron called. He did not get out of the way. He called with his gut shot. He's still in.
Ah, okay.
Really bad card for Andrew here. I expect a check raise out of Dean, right?
Very plausible narrative.
Ron's getting out of the way with the gut shot.
Pretty much pots the turn. I mean, that's 80% of it.
Oh, and he just calls there, Dean. That's an interesting call. Like,
Not much to scare you on this river.
unless he's got a hand like Jack 10, which is kind of the reason I don't like the call there because
Pretty sure I'm gonna knock one of these over to checks.
Yeah, it's a pretty conservative
check.
line here.
Yeah, see,
Good grief.
he cost himself money with the flat call there. He might have get some.
Well,
Chose 2 pairs, 10s and
I mean, again, you check raise the ace 10 there for the purposes of getting the ace 10 to call. You think the ace 10 is going to do that?
We don't know much about Andrew right now.
Yeah.
The only hand we saw him play was a second nuts with 10s full of 6s. We don't know. I mean,
Easy to put on a clinic, I guess.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would argue that he did, putting that third check down on the
I'm always
on
trying
the
to
end
get my
with the
opponent to
tens
put
full.
in money whenever I think I'm in the lead.
He definitely attacked Brad's range very well with that third check. I think the 10's full.
You guys, we're getting drinks after, right?
Maybe you feel
What do you
bad.
mean getting
your
drinks
opponent-
after Andrew? Andrew says we're getting drinks after. Why are we not
Brad.
drinking now?
No, I think Brad's already a little checked out after he gets stunned by those 2 10s. He's already thinking about the bar afterwards as the highlight of the day.
That helps.
We'll give him time. He's
Yeah.
a consummate professional.
The night is young here in Bellagio Poker.
Night
on
is young and the
Strip.
cards are still flying.
race to 50.
Brad raised with
Yeah.
the King 10.
Brad just limps in the cutoff,
Not a lot of kings left.
and Andrew opens.
Let's see the case king on the flop. Get some fireworks. This is a action killer flop.
Hard to get a good flop for that specific trio of hands.
6-5.
Nice little bet position from Brad here.
That's a continuation bet.
Type of bet that either takes the hand down or you shut down immediately after you get played back at. But
One attempt.
yeah,
I'm all set. I'm all set.
And he actually had the worst hand there with the king 10.
great time to bluff.
Yeah.
Or great time to bet, rather, right? Get your opponents to fold better.
In the background there, that bald guy, that is actually Craig Larson, who is actually our poker room manager. The other Craig is director of poker operations. We all know that Craig Larson does all the real work here. I'm expecting to have voicemails when I get off the air tonight. Did Craig Lump get married yet? Is that why he's not here tonight?
I don't know, man. This is the deadest horse that you've been beaten for weeks on end.
I think
I've never seen a man more desperate to give someone congratulations.
I'm not
on a marriage.
congratulating. I think.
Oh, I'm not congratulating.
No,
I'm not
think-
rooting for the guy.
No, I think she's stalling. She's looking for better. I really
Wow.
do. Like,
all right, I must recuse myself once again.
We've got some real premium holdings that are going to see a flop here. They've all got the same picture.
Oh, 2 hearts, 2 spades, 6s are blocked.
All right, dealer, nothing above deuce.
King 4.
2 hearts.
Oh, my
There we go. We got a flush draw.
That
And a
might-
pair. There's a middle pair or bottom pair and a flush draw.
Flush
This might-
draws
We
abound.
might get
If
a,
we can get 3 hands to a turn and put a raggedy spade down, this will be a fun one.
Ron's going to continuation bet with his flush draw. Rob is calling with the bigger flush draw.
7 of spades is available. Be an interesting one, right?
Right?
Certainly would.
I did not see what the
How about the
pre-flop
fives?
folded cards
7
were.
of spades, 5 of spades. Both interesting playing cards here on the turn. Not that one,
ace.
no.
That's not. Yeah, that's not.
Not that one.
If Ron continues, he should be able to win
That's
this spot.
gonna-
That's it.
Which he is certainly correct to do here, given that his holding is 3 high. Get some money in there, maybe take the pot down. Tough for Ron to continue here, or Rob rather, to continue here on a paired board with just a 9 high flush draw.
Apparently, it's not. He's grabbing
Well, he's
chips.
thinking about it.
He calls. Worst flush always
Here we
rings.
go.
Deuce on the river.
Oh my goodness.
Ah.
Does
Ron
he
wins his
have
hand with
the
a 3-bet.
fortitude to
Can Ron
fire?
find a third barrel
Can he fire?
with the 3 high? He kind of has to.
Yes. He's got to represent the ace or the queen.
Kind of has to. No, he
Ah.
just gives up. His opponent can have all kinds of aces, so that makes sense for him to give up, I guess.
Dinner for 2.
The joke that will not be repeated.
Some of those jokes just need to go. We need to come up with like clever new creations for jokes like in poker. Every once in a rare while, I'll hear something I've never heard before.
It's tough to.
But it's
tough
tough,
to
right?
arrive at, yeah.
Probably once a year, I hear something like I've never heard before.
So going back to the lineup in the game, Rob that we've seen play a couple pots here in the 8th seat. Robert Cook of is that Cologne, New Jersey?
I agree.
But apparently he's been out here for 15 years. That's an expensive hotel bill if he's still claiming to live in Cologne. I said New Jersey, didn't I?
You
that's,
did.
That's New York. I apologize. Please, no one jump me about that.
All right, I rescind
once again,
my agreement.
Once again, we've got the answer to the what's your biggest poker accomplishment being not going broke. This is a widely held hope from.
I think it might be a better accomplishment to go broke and come back.
Story of many a very successful player.
I'm just saying that because it represents myself.
I think we're going to have, unless Rob can pull the trigger here with the ace-queen for the 3-bet, we might have a 4 or a 5-way flop go off here.
You have to raise here, right?
Under the
You
gun,
cannot
Andrew
let-
opens the 2 9s,
I
and it
think-
just goes a machine gun of calls behind.
You cannot let all these hands come in with this. Wow.
Yeah, and he berates himself
He
for it.
he
Yeah.
says the calling is the worst, absolutely the worst option there. Like,
Now, if he's in a different position, I like that play a little bit better. If he's got position on the hand, the ace-queen of suited
I like to
is,
squeeze out the big blind.
that's
And
a fair
now-
flop.
just strong enough to call, I think.
And that's a
Andrew opens under the gun and just bangs off the 9s full. The only guy that can really give him a whole hell of a lot of action here is Ron with the 8 high flush draw. Also checks. Going to get a free turn card. Oh, I thought Andrew made
I
Trey's
thought
full
he- I
there
thought he
for a
did, too.
second.
I thought that
Rob
was a
picks up a
3-8.
nut flush draw here, though. This
And he's going to bet his nut
16
flush draw.
on a paired board. A lot of hands that hit that.
Man, this poor Andrew in the 1 seat's really.
Yeah, I hate
Tough.
when that happens,
Hey,
right?
look.
Jeez.
We're back to our normal flop. Let's just flop
Yeah.
sets and
Flop
full
sets-
houses.
Flop sets
on-
and then turn them into boats, just so
Yeah.
there's no confusion.
I like the flat call here.
Sweat-free life.
Because the way that Rob played this hand, by flat calling there and making the announcement is probably the worst play. He's really representing ace-king here, isn't he?
Yeah.
What do you do if an ace comes off? Ouch. This is now Andrew's. Oh, he checks, which is he. With,
Guys call way too
Andrew's got to put a bet in here, and he's going to manage to get a street of value
I
out of
don't-
Rob
I don't
potentially
know that
for
he-
making that ace.
I don't think he does. I think because of what Rob said about it being the worst call, he's not going to put him on ace king or any king. Easy fold, Ron. He missed. Now what does Rob do?
Well, he checked so he could call.
Yeah.
Won't play when he's not raised 3 kings. What a nice, I mean, outside of the heart, what a nice river.
I think 400's a bet. What was the comment? I missed it.
He really enjoys this river card.
Oh,
Rob
yeah.
does.
You check 10's full on the turn, just call. And then maybe we'll run that up.
Are we going to see the put him on a
Crying
hand,
call.
put him on a hand, and then call?
Yeah.
He said he thinks he has king jack.
Only a $200 bet.
Nah, it's just nice full. Just nice.
You know,
That's an interesting bet there. I mean,
I raise a pot, I make a set. I raise a pot, I make a set.
You flop?
no, he flatted last time, and then
Oh, that's right.
Brad raised for him.
I've got a heart did go.
Can you break that? Absolutely.
That could have been a lot worse.
So we've got some plugging of a charity.
Yeah,
Yes.
why don't you tell us
Yes.
about this, Harry?
Yes, we do. Well, unless you've been in a cave under a rock with your eyes shut and your fingers in your ears, you know that we had an incident befall us here in Las Vegas on Sunday. And what we've got going on tonight is we've got a donation jar in the room that Andrew has brought in. And we've also got a link in the description of our Twitch page here for the GoFundMe that's been established by Zappos. And what
It's
Zappos
not
is
GoFundMe, though.
Right,
It's
right.
something
It's a,
else, right?
Appreciate that. I do feel like-
Crowdrise.com is what they're calling it. I
believe
believe
you
is a
can-
proprietary website.
I believe
from
you can
Zappos.
also get to the
But-
same fund from GoFundMe,
Yeah.
plus a couple other different locations.
Yeah, Zappos has
The long and
agreed
short
to
of it-
match up to $1
Exactly.
million.
Yep, it's $1 million match. So we've got the jar in the room. Whatever we collect in that jar is going to get put into this $1 million match fund, and then you guys have the opportunity as well to click on the link in the description if you'd like, and do some donating on your own. All the proceeds will go to benefit victims and families of the tragedy.
Well,
that
that's an
happened on
interesting
Sunday.
little turn card here. Folded to Andrew. He opens, gets defended by Corey. Pair versus pair on the turn, and a bunch of checks happening. Nobody willing to put a whole bunch of money into this one. No bets post flop. Pair of nines.
Winner, winner.
Neeme on the board.
That might be enough for chicken dinner.
Or no, Neeme put in the cold 4-bet and picked up $170 with the two.
You know we have all
aces
these
early.
amazing restaurants here at the Bellagio.
We have a few.
Prime Steakhouse, they changed their menu. Were you aware of that?
Yeah, I actually, my dad came into town 3 weeks ago, and we went down, took him, had a nice little table, right, looking out over the Lake Bellagio. He had the ahi tuna. I had the redone lamb chops, which were profanity-inducingly good.
So you didn't try the $660 Kobe beef.
Oh, the Wagyu that's $45 an ounce or something like that.
12 ounces for $660.
I've got a funny.
How much is a half an ounce of beef?
Like,
sorry,
well, ground
sir.
beef is $1.50
It's-
if you go to Walmart. I mean,
Unfortunately,
Oh, I've been dieting, so maybe I'll up to 1 ounce, 1 full ounce.
unfortunately for you, it's
Just
a
for the
3-ounce
experience.
minimum.
yes.
3 ounce minimum.
Yeah, no, I've got a funny Bobby's Room story about that. Player and his girlfriend were ordering dinner one night, and she says, "Hey, can I get the Kobe New York?" And I said, "Yeah, how many ounces do you want?" She says, 10. How do you want to cook? Medium well.
You might be leaning in the
Bleh.
shot. That's
Okay. Anyway,
That's why I don't
the
eat it,
bill.
because I'm a medium well guy myself. So I just I
Can we
refuse.
bring you some ketchup as well?
No,
Yeah, for
that's
your doorstop.
you, Mr. Ketchup over here. That's blasphemy.
Right.
So
that's what I'm getting at.
the bill comes, and this guy looks down and realizes that his old lady has ordered a $450 10-ounce steak.
Hashtag worth it.
And he says, he looks at me and he's like, you didn't think about warning me that she was trying to order a $450 steak? I was like, buddy, you're playing 3 and 6,000. I didn't think you were worried about it. And he says, well, I am. For future reference, if my old lady tries to order a $600 steak, give me a heads up.
That's not even a bet. That's like that's a
It's
quarter.
not even an ante.
Right. I mean, that's awesome.
Could you imagine if that was just standard operating procedure every time somebody really orders something nice?
Sir, are you
Excuse me,
sure?
Are you sure?
That is actually one of my biggest pet peeves in restaurants.
Oh,
is like when people tell me do you know that's
very expensive.
Thank you. I can read the menu. Thank you.
Oh, man.
300 and 1200.
So
I was at
folded
a-
all the way to Andrew here in the $5 blind, and he decides to open the ace-9 off. Brad got another playable holding here in the second $5 blind. Ron getting out of the way with what previously would have been a playable hand for him. That looks like an open and a 3-bet,
bet.
which makes the fold of the king-8.
Will make a little more sense there, yeah.
Next week is there, that too.
Just lets it go.
I was at a bar once in a
Anybody
hotel
who
bar.
orders a $600 steak should have an intervention.
I agree. John and I have
Perhaps an
actually
intervention
talked.
of people to share that steak with.
Yeah.
Because
John and I have actually talked about this before. That if we had the money that one person spends on food in Bobby's room a year,
Oh, my God.
we could pay off our houses
Yeah.
in a year. Like
It's tens of dollars.
yeah, yeah. for the bread.
I'm trying to think of what the most expensive
have you
steak
had
I've
that
ever
pretzel
eaten
bread
is.
though?
Oh, it's
that pretzel.
John knows that like
That
I'm the
bread,
pretzel.
that
That'll keep you going.
I'm the
during
pretzel bread
series.
hooker in this town, in this room. Like I love the
he's-
pretzel bread.
All right.
And then they switched it, and I was mad because they switched it to the pretzel balls, and they were. Then I tasted some of them, and they were actually better than the pretzel bread. Then they switched back to the pretzel bread, so I'm just.
It's just perfect enough
disheveled
all
now.
the way around.
I tell you, I want to get back to this action, but
It's not really an action board here.
cards
Check
are not
no
coming.
clubs, no. I like that we both have a 9-3 and a 9-4, and it looks like 9-3 could win this pot with the bet.
This is just a
And does 9-4 call with the open ender for a $60 pot?
complete check, and
Bet.
nobody seems real
Do
interested.
you like this call here? With it's you're
I
putting
do.
in $30 for a $60 pot.
Oh boy,
That's
what
a bad
nightmare.
river card for you, Vlad.
What a nightmare. That 9 rates to be the best pair from Vlad's perspective.
Right. The only thing he could represent here is a 7-8 if he raises,
I
right?
don't know if I'm going to be able to. Well, we'll see.
Maybe
It's like what I said last
a
time.
deuce 4-7, which I mean he's in the blind and
So what
unraised
happened here?
pot.
Ron checked flop, bet turn. This could be a
I
check.
think last time
No,
I
he
said I
doesn't get
wasn't
away.
going to drink, and I think
Doesn't
I
get away,
only
gets shown the
won
2
it.
pair.
So we'll see if I
Kind of a trap card.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of what the most expensive steak I've ever had is, and the one that's coming to mind was me and two buddies shared a 50-ounce tomahawk wagyu bone-in ribeye.
50 ounce.
Yeah, and they cut it all up and made it kind of manageable.
Did you take the tomahawk and use it to kill another
No,
animal?
just you
Seems
beat
like you
yourself
could,
in the
right.
chest with it like a real man.
Is that something like
Um,
from Man vs. Food or something? Like seriously, like
There were 3 of us, and we struggled to finish it with like the 2 sides that we split. It was great, but 50 ounces.
I'm a fish and seafood guy. I'm not a big steak guy. That's probably why I like. People call me blasphemous for eating them medium well and well done.
Well, I mean, just go eat literally anything else, and you won't have me twitching. Yeah, I think that steak though was like $250 or $275. But when you think about it being steak for 3
that is-
people, it's a
that's
little.
Full
Brad's
double.
being very active in this game today. I mean,
What
he's
I
had some
paid.
hands, but he's doing some 3-betting, and he's raising here. This is a great button raise. He's got Queen 9 of clubs, or excuse me, King 4 of clubs. I don't mind this call from
There's
Dean
some-
out of the blind.
There are some trouble boards here for the Queen 9 of clubs defending in this spot.
You can pick some worse hands to defend your big board.
Yeah.
Though.
We ended up having to cancel to stop doing it because people were running and they were getting drunk and they were running into the keg. Like,
Pair,
Pair versus pair. The flush board. Probably not a lot of action here. First person to bet might win this. This is that I might have the best hand with the 9, but do I want to put the money in? There's 3 diamonds on the board. Does he have an overpay? Like,
I honestly don't know how I feel about this.
There are a
bet
smattering of bad turn cards if you flat here.
Yeah,
Check
it
raise
is.
And look at
small
that.
to 110.
Dean also smells a rat.
plus you don't
I'm
have
telling
to
you,
get
these
a
3
total
flush
full
boards, these dry king high boards, when you see bet them, what are you saying? I have the ace of diamonds.
Well,
I flopped the flush.
you know, in
I
a
have a
perfect
large
world,
pair with a large
in a
diamond.
perfect world, you just do it like Andrew and just bang off top and middle set every single time.
that's, yeah.
The less fortunate among us must fire the bottom pair from time to time.
I think that in the old days, like checking the flush there was the sneaky play. I think betting it nowadays is the
I
more
agree.
sneaky
You
play.
have the flush. You
bet-
have the flush.
Right.
This-
You bet.
Guys,
But
this,
when you bet it in,
this
you
just
don't.
went bet 3-bet
Yeah.
from Brad here.
I guess that's why you bet these flush.
Right.
3.5 years
Because you say, I have the flush. Your opponent says, no, you don't.
It's
You're
no-
also repping a hand like king with king of diamonds, ace king with the, you know what I mean? Like, and he's calling here. Wow.
He might not. He might just blow this one up. No, just a flat.
Sounds good to me.
I really just wanted to see a gasket blown one pair, stuff as much in the middle as possible. Knuckle here, Harry?
I mean,
think
Brad's
Brad has to
saying
go, right? He has to continue.
If he does, if he checks here,
Yeah, he's giving up.
It's the meal, the full meal.
Oh!
It's just like this.
Maybe that's why
Oh
you
my
3-bet, because you know
goodness.
it's coming.
Well, there's a lot more fun when you
Again,
don't have to worry about it.
king, no good. Jack, no good.
I learned
King
that
4, a
as soon as I
monster.
started playing for a
That's
living.
true.
When it became fun, it didn't matter if you won or lost, like, and you see the anguish and the people that are grinding it out.
Yeah, no.
And I just thought, man, I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. It was fun. I had a lot of good times. I love the freedom. But, man, those swings sometimes. I played limit. I couldn't imagine that.
Wow, that's a bet of 630 into a pot that was 770.
There are, but like.
well, Brad's got the best hand and he knows it.
Yeah.
More than like you have a huge bad swing because, you know, you're just running.
What's really gross is when Dean just beats him into the pot, and shows him the 10 high flush. Yeah. Not this time.
And,
You like betting that big?
Well,
I mean, do you think the
Generally when you
$630 bet gets called as often as the $260 bet does in this spot?
what's our pot
I
size
agree
here?
with
like
here. I
seven
agree
This
here
is
with.
almost a pot size
Yeah,
bet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Generally, I think.
I
when
agree
you're-
with Hetik here on the in the chat. He said it looks like an ace or a king on diamond bluff here, and it really
It does. Or the other side of it, which is
He's got
the
a full. He's
effective
got a
ones.
monster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
it's-
minimum of about
And that
the
I
king
think,
four
and that I
clubs.
think is the argument for a bet this size. You
Yeah.
make it large. You make
It's
it
the
about pot
polarizing.
size. Right.
And now you have to
exactly.
decide if he's bluffing
You
or
do
if he
it
has
with,
it.
You do it with both sides of your range. It's large enough to get a lot of hands to fold that would be beating you. And it's
And Brad's glad because he doesn't get snap called here, so he
Yeah.
knows he has the best hand.
You know, I said there were some boards that could cause some trouble for Dean defending the queen 9 of clubs. I didn't
that was
think
not
that
one of
that was
them?
it.
check call, check fold. My favorite line in poker.
John, you got everybody in the chat talking about they want a
Steaks?
side of
Yeah.
sauteed onions, mushrooms,
Oh,
and
man.
bordelaise sauce with their steaks. Yeah, cooking medium rare steaks on the grill, prime rib. I agree, Big Ben. The only hands that call Owen there beat him. However, he did make it look like a bluff.
Excuse us.
I agree with your guys' position on Franny Ale there. We took care of it.
Rob opening up front here with the 2 7s.
Rob's raised a lot of free plots.
I did.
Haven't heard a lot
I
from Ron in the 9 seat.
Well, here he
I
comes.
did think about it.
You listen a lot better than my kid.
We have 2 Rons tonight, right?
We have a Ron and a Rob.
Rob is in the
Ron and a Rob.
8.
The one consonant difference.
Oh, Corey's in the 19. I'm
Corey,
sorry.
yeah,
we
we
haven't seen
got
much from
Corey.
Corey.
Corey from New Orleans.
My second favorite city in America.
It's a great place to visit. I can't imagine living there, but don't mind going there from time to time.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever live there, but it is.
Seabed takes it down here for Rob.
I actually had a friend of mine once, a radio friend of mine once, call me and says, "I'm going to offer you a job because you're my boy, but don't take it." He's like, "You don't want to move your family down here." I love New Orleans. The food in New Orleans is second to nowhere in the
How
world.
about Bourbon Street on Halloween?
Oh,
My God, it's coming up.
when we used to do the Biloxi tournaments every year,
Yeah,
we
you
all
shoot
spent
down there, yeah.
We spent I don't know how many New Year's Eves we
Oh,
spent
God.
in New Orleans. It's amazing.
My favorite experience down there was the Sugar Bowl that year was going to be the Utah Utes against Alabama.
Oh.
And there were all these guys wearing Alabama gear everywhere. And my drunken state, the one epiphany I had halfway through the night was if you say Roll Tide to a guy wearing Alabama gear, he's required by law to respond with Roll Tide or something of the sort. So it was okay. These guys were nice and energetic at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock. But when 2 o'clock rolled around and these guys were holding on for dear life, stumbling down the street, and you say, "Hey, Roll Tide, buddy, Roll Tide!" They could barely hold themselves up, but they still were compelled to respond, even though they had to fight back the vomit to do it.
Hey, I was down there once for the Rams Patriots Super Bowl, and I was with my friend Nate, and we go into a liquor store. And we get some liquor, and Nate comes out of the store, and he's drinking the bottle. And there's two cops standing there. He goes, wait. He looks at the cop. He goes, is it okay if I drink this on the street? Cop says, do you know where you're at?
Similar to our current environs on some.
And then that was also the night, I almost got arrested for, remember the girl that used to do Fox football? I think her name was Jillian or just something like that back in the early 90s or early 2000s. Yeah, for heckling her while she was trying to do the Fox, the NFL thing for Fox.
Yeah, I was just trying to see if she could do her job under pressure.
That's right.
So limp from Andrew here with the pocket tray is trying to go 3 for 3 set mining. Ron opens the hijack. Second
we know that 3 for 3 is entirely possible because we flop sets on Bellagio 5. He's going to miss this time.
Whiff. So
but he does have the best hand here.
Corey here in the 9 seat picks up the flush draw, and Ron's just going to hang on to ace high with the C-bet here into 2 opponents.
Yeah, Corey's not going anywhere.
When the bills start coming in red.
Get a hand like this and a flop like that, that's what you're looking for.
I feel like Andrew's going to fold here and turn the 3 of hearts.
When I was young, that was like a game.
Andrew gets out of the way.
We didn't pay the bill.
It's a good card for Ron to continue with here.
No, Ron's got enough value now that he just wants to check, I think. And Corey also
he puts his opponent on he puts his opponent on a flush draw.
I'm sorry. Ron's in position.
Yeah, he puts his opponent on a flush draw. He's going to bet. Not going to give him the flush draw for free.
Jillian Barbary.
Yes, that was her name.
Thank you, whoever that is in chat.
Thank
I can't
you.
read the name from
Is
here.
that Huge Time 86? Thank you. It was Jillian Barbary.
I'm doing my best here to keep an eye on chat as well.
Oh, we got it. Going to peel here with the gutter.
He's got a gutter and a
Flush
flush
draw.
draw, yeah. Beautiful card for Ron. Unfortunately, Corey doesn't have anything to pay him off unless he tries to bluff at this pot here
What
and
kind
represent
of?
it.
Yeah, I was thinking, does Ron ever contemplate putting in a bet here, or is he just done with it? It'd be an interesting narrative to go check call, and then fire when the board pairs. And fortunately for him, he's up against the wrong hand to attempt that maneuver. So he elects to check.
People are talking in the chat, Harry, about making a donation. What is the link at? What do they need to do to get to the link to make a donation?
So it's right down there in our description. So you've got, twitch.tv/BellagioPots. You obviously are there because you're watching. What you're going to want to do is scroll down a little bit. Scroll down a little bit. You're going to see Welcome to Bellagio Pots, questions about whether or not you want to be on the show, and then underneath that you see the Vegas Strong donations. Just click that picture there. Just click on the Luxor, and it'll take you to the link, and from there you can donate. Matched up to $1 million.
I'm excited because my favorite time of year is coming up. It's the WPT, November 24th through December 10th. So many events. Last year, what did we have? 791 players. Oh, the events are
They're
scrolling
all
on the
scrolling.
screen. Boom.
They're right there in that banner ad. You guys plug exclamation mark WPT in chat. It'll take you to the site as well.
We added a tag team event this year, which is nice. $1,000 per team.
Now, how are we going to run that? How's that structured?
You play a level.
Uh-huh.
You have to play a full level?
You have to play a level.
Do you have to play a full level every single time, or just
Yes,
to
you
start?
rotate on the level.
Okay. How long are the levels?
Is it a
Do you know?
mandatory
30-minute levels.
rotation?
What's that?
Is it a forced rotation?
Yes.
It is a forced
Yes.
rotation.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, you see a lot.
That is very different from what some of our competitors
No,
do.
Yeah.
no hiding behind your buddies.
Right.
Yeah.
Get
No
in there,
riding
get
Doug
in there
Polk
and
to the
mix
money.
it up. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, you got to play. Yeah, so, which makes a difference when you're picking your partner, right? To play with, you want to have somebody that you feel. You want somebody with a similar style to yours or an opposite style to yours. And I guess it depends. And you never know who's going to be on your table. It's
I
kind
just
of
want a guy that doesn't lose. Ron opens up front and just bangs off top two here. He's up against the gutter from
and we
Andrew
don't know
on
what
the
Mr.
$10
Neeme has.
Andrew just flatted second in on the button.
Do you like Ron's check here? Top
Andrew
two pair.
Neeme, that is.
Do you like Ron's check atop here on the flop here?
It's the first
The top
time
two here?
he's declined the opportunity to c-bet, right?
With that board, like,
I don't know.
there's a lot of straights out there with the ace jack. And I have this. This is my personal theory. Don't ever give your opponent a reason to call. And now the spade comes off on the turn, so there's a lot more straights. The flush draws out there. I think you jeopardize your hand here.
So I agree with that, but I agree with it from the perspective that what Ron's doing when he checks there is he's really hoping that his opponent behind him wakes up with an ace, right? Then he can get a bunch of money into the pot.
yeah.
The thing is if he's got an ace and it's a strong ace and you bet into him, you're probably going to get to see a turn card with some money in the pot there also. But if you check, like Dallas said, you can give a lot of hands the opportunity to catch up to you.
Give him
or
plenty of rope.
give hands that previously had no equity, some equity that they want to try and realize on the turn,
Right.
and then they crush you on the
Right,
river.
right.
For all of it, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially if you have a hand here like ace jack, it's checked, and now tens might come along and hit, spike the river or something. I'm a big fan of just betting your hand on the flop because I think it disguises your hand even more when you do that.
Yeah. I think you and I both come from a limit hold'em mentality
for
where,
sure.
you're going to get the maximum amount of money in a lot of situations by giving yourself the opportunity to go bet, 3-bet, and I think it translates over into a lot of our thought processes about no limit hands. And the thing is, there's plenty of examples where that's absolutely correct, where, if you fire once, it doesn't mean you don't get another opportunity to fire again. I want to put the most in, I get the bet as many times as I
want
want.
to see me make the chat go crazy? I think that people who have a very solid limit hold'em background make great no limit players because you learn more about saving bets, getting more value for your hands, I think, than no limit players do. Now let them go ahead and try and roast me on this. And we've seen that over the years where a lot of guys who were limit players are starting to creep up into those, win bracelets and stuff and no limit events and stuff like that.
Speaking to John's point about how when you come from a limit hold'em background, you make a hand, your
just
best
bet it.
option is generally to bet
Bet.
3-bet.
Right.
Yeah.
Bet 3-bet. That's the way that you get the most money in. A great example for that in the no limit hold'em game that sometimes is a line that players don't take is when they do flop a set on a raggedy board.
Right.
When you flop a set on a raggedy board, bet out.
Right.
Because that's the way that you're going to make the most money in the pot. Checking, changing the pace of the action later, it makes things makes people think. But if you bet out, tough for people to believe that you flop the hand as strong as a set sometimes.
Mystery hand here. Battle of the Andrews.
Get a jack.
One more card. Well, Andrew's got the Jack of Andrews, and Neeme has a mystery hand.
Mystery muck. Andrew here in the 1 seat's off to a pretty fair start by all accounts.
Now you're ready.
I think a big function of the limit players translating over is just that, in most instances, a good poker player is just simply a good poker player, and no matter what the discipline that they choose to compete in, they're going to show up.
Running Up Legion wants to know if we're going to be doing this game October 27th or through 30th. No, the next
22,
our schedule,
23
we
October.
do
November 5th and 6th is our next 5,
that's gonna
5,
be the
10.
one that's closest
Yeah.
to those dates. We do Sunday, Mondays every 2 weeks, so 2 days bi-weekly. So right
Every
now,
other Sunday,
Right.
Monday is how a normal human being would say that, Harry.
well, I've got an extensive vocabulary, and sometimes I
You
utilize
trip over it?
unnecessarily.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair.
So there we go.
Constructive criticism here on Bellagio Poker on the Strip.
Thank you.
So under the gun open by Vlad with the 6-4. Dean, the next seat over, just
Oh, I was gonna say, Brad's out of position full apparently.
explain to me how it goes under the gun open, and Dean in the next seat over says ace deuce of diamonds, good enough for me, 130. I've only got 5 people behind me.
I'm gonna tell you why he did that. Because Vlad has been very tight.
Yeah.
Has been relatively snug. So if he 3-bets a hand here, he can play this hand up heads up against Vlad.
Represents a
And
lot
if
of
not,
strength.
by 3-betting it, he's gonna, like he just did, he took that pot away from Vlad.
Yeah.
You know,
It's pretty strong. Second in.
it's about knowing
Plus
who you're
one.
playing though, as opposed to
My overwhelming concern in that spot would be the 6 runners left behind me. That's all I'm saying.
Pandemonium. There will not be any Twitch feeds during the 5 diamond. It is just logistically impossible for us to do.
We just get crushed. Our
Yeah,
room
we
is
just
full. We put
the
tables
room
in
is
the book.
full, and it takes too many people to run the Twitch broadcast. It takes 12 of us to actually put this on every time.
We
You
had-
don't see our producers, Matt and Jason and Leslie, and both Craigs. It takes a lot of people to put this process on for us every 2 weeks. So we just don't have the manpower to be able to do this or the tables or the space to do this during the WPT.
Yeah.
But I believe that season 3 will start in January. We'll have to get that confirmed with Mr. Lump. Just call him Mr. Director from now on.
Sir.
Sir.
Sir works. 4-way flop
Four-way
here
flop
with another smattering of strong holdings.
Can't say there's been no action tonight. At least pre-flop calls
Checks
have been
around.
pretty like.
There's your dry king high board action.
Yeah.
Checks
Yeah.
around. That's what it's supposed to look like.
Andrew on the button here has found himself a draw to the nuts by no fault of his own.
Ron's
Ron's
why
got
would he not bet the 5 there? How is it not
third
the best
pair?
hand?
Vlad has a decision, apparently. No longer has a decision with the draw to the second nuts. If the 4 comes off, he's going to be very happy that he did not come along.
I don't know how I feel like. Maybe it's just me and my style of play. Calling a half pot size bet on the turn with a gut shot. It's $100 into a $200 pot. I mean,
My question is, what the whole concept of implied odds, if you do make the
Well,
nuts on the end here.
This is where we're at, right? Are you trying to
There you
make
go.
the best hand? Or are you
Fair
trying to take it
enough.
away from the guy? Because
right.
that's a reason
You got to call so I can show
to
it.
call there.
As soon as you called,
like
I
it-
gave up on the hand.
Ron says as soon as he called, he gave up on the hand. Well, in my opinion, that might be an argument for not betting.
right.
Might be better to just check call your pair there, even though it rates to be the best hand.
All right.
Defend the strength of that hand by checking and then calling maybe.
Right. He had a
Folding
hand that
maybe,
had showdown
calling
value
maybe.
there, and
Right.
by betting then checking, he allowed the hand to be taken away from him.
Whereas
Like,
if he
Andrew's
checks,
actually played some hands very well tonight for probably as much value as he can, even though I disagree with calling a half pot size bet there for a gut shot on the turn. I mean, he did end up winning the pot. There's no. You have to assume though that if you make your hand there the straight, that Ron's going to pay you off.
Got the vlogger fan club over here saying hello behind the table. Just trying to figure out what was going on.
all right, we got to bring this up because I saw it last night and Chad is talking about it. But did you guys see the Phil Hellmuth 3-point shot?
I heard about it. I did
heard
not
about
this?
see it. What did he
Phil
just get
Hellmuth.
even money for 15 dimes, or did somebody leave?
even money? How about 10-1?
Okay,
The
that's
guy
fair.
got 10-1
Just-
on
just-
Is he a
$1,000.
basketball player?
I mean,
Well, he's
tall.
tall.
I just don't see him as
Studio high five.
I
for
just
that
don't
there.
see
Yep,
him
right.
as an athlete. I don't know.
No,
so
he's about the furthest thing from
He enjoys the Golden
chiseled
State
body
Warriors
of Adonis that you can think of.
and is about 9.5 feet
Like, I
tall.
like that he was like one of the first ones.
And he took 10 dribbles, no more. Not allowed to take any more than 10 dribbles.
Yeah,
There was a brief debate about whether or not the shot would be from college distance or NBA distance, but they rectified that with a rock, paper, scissors match of some variety.
Oh, it was a half-court shot?
No,
It was a
three-pointer.
three-point.
Okay.
It
So
ended
what
up
did
being
he
a
have to hit? A
three-pointer.
college or a three?
He
NBA?
ended up hitting one from college distance. And boy, let me tell you, he stepped up and drained it in a way that would make you remember Amarillo Slim.
Who was the
He crushed this prop bet. Not only did he drain it, he then goes back to take like a second, I'm using air quotes here that you guys can't see, a second like make believe, like I'm going to try it again, and just full airballs it like right over the top of the backboard, obviously trying to get some action.
Who did he make
You
the
can't
bet
scare
with?
off your future,
Right.
actually.
Who did he
Yeah, who was his bet with? Who was his villain?
So I think it was 10-1 with Polk.
Okay.
He got 10-1 on $1,000, and then Tonka. I know him as Tonka. I believe his name is Parker Talbot, but I know him from streaming as Tonka.
Yeah.
Also got in there for 2K, and Helmuth crushed them all. Helmuth crushed them all. Took a lap.
Actually, I know that.
Came back. Celebrated.
Always the most gracious winner and loser, right? Like always.
Just live streamed the whole thing.
I mean, he's relatively quiet when he's break even or so, right? That's why he plays tournaments, so he doesn't get that opportunity.
In fairness, I would have been on Polk's side of that bet.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, like.
I mean, simply just look at him.
Believe me when I tell you, he drained it.
So-
Like, didn't hit the rim, didn't hit the backboard, nothing but net.
Bottom of the net and nothing
Bottom.
else.
I'm gonna give a public service announcement here since we're talking about
Stone
draining 3-point shots. There's a guy that plays a lot of poker
It's a good investment.
that wins a
Put
ton
4
of
out,
money
you get 1 back.
betting people he can hit 90 out of 100 free throws.
Oh my God! Does this
Yeah.
guy play 2-5?
He plays whatever he can get into.
I have
Don't.
dealt cards to this guy.
Yes. Do
I-
not take this bet, people. Like you
There's-
will not win.
There's never a guy, every single instance, and I've only seen a few, but every single instance in my life where I've seen a guy willing to bet something about basketball that's not white men can't jump as 2-on-2.
Right.
Anything outside of that, if there's some weird prop bet with basketball, the answer is I'm going to take a pass.
Right.
The wise man once told me no one ever makes a bet with you intending to lose. These guys don't just randomly think basketball at the last second. They know what they're doing.
There's a friend of ours who was on Facebook about during the World Series. He was actually on Facebook telling about this bet and trying to solicit other people to take part of the action with him because he just thought for sure. And everybody on in the chat was like, "Is it so and so?" He's like, "Yeah." How do you know? They're like, "You're on the losing side. I'll back him out." Like 90 out of 100 free. Think about that. Like, I mean, I don't think so. I wonder if Steph Curry can hit 90 out of 100 consecutive free throws.
Free throws?
Here's
Yeah.
the thing. If Steph Curry came up to me and said, "Hey, bud, you want some action?" The answer is
No.
I'm going to take a pass. If they're willing to offer it, I ain't taking it.
90 out of 100 at even
High
money.
altitude poker says I would never take 10-1 against somebody hitting a 3. Even a mediocre player can hit 10% of the time. Not a positive EV bet. I agree. Well, no, I think against Helmut, I take that bet. Again, I don't see him as. I almost
I mean,
picture
not to-
him throwing
not-
up a granny shot. And just
Not to
hoping it's fine.
disparage the man, but just look at him.
Nice guy, though. Nice guy.
But you're right, though. You don't know. Doyle's a perfect example. Who would have known that he was about to be an NBA basketball player
Yes.
at one
Yeah.
point in his
Yes,
life? He
with
was
the
a
Minneapolis
D1
Lakers. Yeah.
Superstar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never would.
Yeah.
You know,
TJ
you know how
Cloutier was a professional football player.
Yeah.
But TJ Cloutier looks like, he's a big guy. He looks like he could play offensive tackle.
There's the guys that get into
And he's
poker from sports that you could just tell. I mean, and Doyle, he claims to have shrunk in his old age, but he at one point was actually 6'3".
Wow.
So I mean, you look at a guy like Greg Mueller. He clearly, has some athletic ability.
If you want to be on the show, we've kind of just been all over the place a little bit tonight, but it's been
Little
kind of fun. My name is Dallas Scott. I'm your host. My co-host, John Hart. Our normal co-host, Mr. Director, Craig Lump, is not here tonight. We have our associate producer, Mr. Harry
Corvasi. Harry Corvasi is the name.
I try to get them together.
Band hammering is the game.
If you want to be on the show, Harry, where are we telling them to go to?
Okay, if you want to be on the show, you can find us at Twitter, okay? Get a hold of us at Twitter, at Bellagio Poker. Tweet us. Let us know your interest. We will follow you back and start a series of DMs wherein we will give you the details that you need to come
And where
be
can
on
they
the
find
show.
the schedule of the events at?
They can also
pinned
find
at
the
the top
scheduled
of.
events.
It's pinned at the top of
Yep.
the Twitter feed.
That is correct.
And we're back in 2 weeks on the 23rd and 22nd and 23rd. That's going to be a 5-5 PLO game.
5-5.
We've got a couple guys.
This is going to be. We got a
made
pot
some
here.
confirmations to play that game.
A couple
Neeme's
confirmations. I'm going to use this platform to a second to address one pseudo confirmation that we haven't quite heard anything about yet.
Joe?
And that's Mr. Joe Ingram. Joe Ingram was expressing some interest in our PLO game, and we eagerly anticipate his potential arrival. And,
Neeme
we'd
raised
love to
here
hear
on the
about
button
that.
with Queen 10 of spades. Rob called with 9s. Corey called with a Queen Jack. He's going to check to Neeme. He's going to continuation bet. Why wouldn't he? Rob should call. He should probably raise here.
Decisions.
Yeah.
Small check rate. Did he just click that back?
He check raised to 200.
Yeah, it goes 100, 200, or 80 to 200.
80 to 200.
Job done.
I also like betting those pairs on that board, though. I don't. I hate giving free cards unless I have a monster.
And it's on my button.
It's a mini version.
I've seen versions. Yeah, I still have versions. Yeah.
Hey, Andrew.
Yeah.
Andrew, will you do me a favor? I don't want to knock all the cameras over. Will you just throw that in the bucket over there?
I'm going to go 0.
This right here? In the jar?
How many $600 stakes? Just how many
If you
paid
throw
for
it from
here?
there and make it in, he's going to put 200 bucks
How
in
many
his head.
comp $600 stakes?
Wait.
The spelling got me messed up. I thought we were talking about something gambling related.
Seems fair.
Oh, that's for you. Thank you. Back if you two would get that.
Appreciate it. Oh, now it's not good for everybody?
Now, there's probably two
I
different
guess I'm more
numbers. There's the
unsure. So
$600
this is
stakes he
very-
pays for, and then there's the $600 stakes he
Yeah, you're roughly
claims
quarters of me. I'll
to
be
pay
there
for. I bet you they're
Last time we
drastically
did
different
first.
numbers.
After we're done, I'll show you 15.
I forgot which hurricane that did, but
All right.
Did you hit the 20 to 1?
no, I haven't shot it.
He's in a hand, bro. He's in your hand.
Brad is taking a 20 to 1 shot here. We got. What am I missing here?
I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Andrew has not gotten
I don't
any
wanna
drawing
look like a
dead
silly
stone
fool
cold
on the
dead
log.
tonight.
Yeah.
Good flop for Brad.
Brad checks.
This is where the younger players have advantage. They go, well, his range is this, because this is there, and this is where I should bet. That hits him harder than me.
I like
Oh,
Rob.
this is
Yeah,
the ace
I'll tell
high
you,
speech?
Rob is not wrong.
That's
because
the
I'm over
rarest
here
of the rare.
thinking about how I'm going to talk about a lot of the things that Rob just mentioned.
Right.
Instead, we'll just let him do it.
I just bet till I figure it out.
There it is.
There's nothing wrong with that theory, right?
7 of clubs, please.
I was thinking the exact same
And I
thing.
think Brad's thinking, all right, I'm just going to
Deuce
call
of
it until
clubs
I
is good
figure it
enough.
out. Well, I tell you what, if you bet this flop, oh boy.
You got to continue there when you
Yeah.
make the. Oh!
Ugh.
That is
That's the Yahtzeest of Yahtzee
and
cards he
that's
could
a fair
possibly
card.
get there,
And
right?
you're thrilled, but you
Right.
can also bet your way to that card.
Right. He
And look at what
loses
this
money
does.
here, right? Because
Yeah.
Andrew's not. I
Look
mean,
at what
Brad's
it
not
does.
folding.
there could be $600 in this pot already.
Yeah.
Really just the perfect card, though.
And this is
Giving
one of those.
Brad
This
the
is going to be a
straight.
tight spot for Brad here, right? Because he's going to get raised. He's going to think they have the same hand. They're representing king. The 10. Does he think that
How do you
Rob
feel
has the
about,
queen? King
How do you
10?
feel about Rob making a big
Well,
overbet here? That's the
Like
question.
he's still in the pot. I think it's a great bet. It's the all or nothing bet, right?
Raise.
Nope, he's going for a bit smaller value. Looks like 600-ish.
5.
Five.
Value bet.
Oh, a little over pot size bet. I would have liked a bigger bet out of him there.
The backdoor flush?
CCH Chilian on the chat. He said, I've had a $100 stake, and it's hard to believe a $600 stake is 6
I
times
love
as good.
combinations that could-
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Value that, huh?
Is this just desserts for Brad backdooring the ace-8 of clubs earlier in the day?
Hey,
Yeah, you're too good.
Brad senses he's
Not
up
that
against
good.
it here.
I know, but this is my kid's like tuition for that's due on the 15th for school. Like, I don't
That
have
might be a good way to
fancy
get a
lines in
fold
California.
All right, it's 520.
Yeah, high altitude
I guess
poker. I
it's
agree.
probably-
I agree right up until the point he throws that chip in the pot, unfortunately. He gets shown the nuts.
Just the nut. Just the nut.
I'm keeping this now. I'm not putting it in.
You keep it. That's you keep it for luck, and then put those in.
Oh, you got to shoot it from there.
Brad, you keep the 10.
I missed it.
and
Did
then,
Brad
you
call
put
here?
that
He
in.
did. He found a call. Tough to find a fold.
One goes to Brad.
He hated it.
10
He
goes
hated
to
it the
Brad.
whole way,
And then
but he
another
found
10
a
in the
call.
bucket, and then 10 for you.
You got to shoot bucket feet, though.
All right, they're adding to the jar here for the charity. Go ahead and explain to them again what the charity is that they're raising money for the Vegas fund.
Yeah, yep. So we've got a donation jar going in the room for victims of the tragedy that we suffered
That's the
here in
first
Las
time
Vegas
someone
on
showed the
Sunday.
nuts.
You guys also have the opportunity to donate via a
Family
link that
shelter.
we have in our
That was the
description. So
first
if you
time
just
someone
scroll
showed the
down,
nuts here at the table.
hashtag Vegas Strong Donations.
What's the odds of that?
my friend.
You have the
What are the
boat.
odds?
Click on the hashtag Vegas Strong Donations, Vegas Strong Donations link,
That was
and
nuts.
that'll take you over there. Zappos is going to match donations up to $1 million.
There was no wait. There was no pair out there.
Yeah, you're at 9 full of keys.
No. I'm talking about
Anything better than that.
Oh,
No, he's
No.
saying you had the nuts.
you had the nuts. You had the nuts. The ace high flop. There was no. Yeah.
That was the stone
In fact, you had the stone cold nuts.
nizzle.
Stone cold. Okay.
Fold the Neeme and the hijack with
Get
the
in there with the King 9 from the
King
hijack.
9 double suited. Good enough.
Classic Neeme Brad Owen pot here. Neeme mixing it up a little bit. Flops top pair.
Just does it. Like, she makes
Much
it
better
perfect.
than that
She
with your
made
King
that
9
so
off.
clean. But she made up a bunch of the Vegas Strong stickers that go on your window.
60-6-0.
Now this flop doesn't hit Neeme that much, so
And,
not too crazy to get a call here
you
out of
give me your
Brad with
number,
a
I mean,
backdoor
I can
flush
get-
draw
she'll
and an
make
overcard.
sure to do.
Backdoor straight
And
draw as
really
well.
not big.
But
Now he's
card
got.
And she
for those
donates all the
backdoors.
money she
There have been
gets from
some
to one of the
interesting
funds.
runouts so far on the show this evening, to say the least.
Super nice.
Why would Brad?
Brad drills the best available card for his hand, the turn card, an undercard to a 9 high board.
Can we
which
see
is
a king of
unlikely
spades on the river? I didn't see
to
what
hit
cards were
Neeme's
folded.
range.
Can we see the king of spades on the river? And then let's let Brad slow roll.
Yeah, make the noise.
I don't know if slow roll is in either one of their wheelhouses, honestly.
No, have we ever seen them heads up in a pot with each other before?
No, I have not.
This would be some value entertainment-wise.
Ooh. Alas.
These two guys know a lot about each other. This is going to be interesting how this plays out. Does Brad think he can 3-barrel bluff Neeme here?
At this point, I think Brad thinks he only loses if Neeme drilled that queen. Again, that 9 high board not likely to be in Neeme's range when he opens from the hijack. So this is why you get a
see,
call.
I disagree with. I think when people open from the hijack, their range is so wide that there's no reason why a hand like a 9-10, Jack 9, 9-8 suited can't be there.
He can have a 9. He certainly can have a 9. 10-9 suited, hands like that, but it's unlikely.
Or even, what about a hand like ace trade? I mean, obviously he doesn't have it. I think that Brad believes he doesn't have it because he hasn't put money into the pot here. But raising with an ace trade from the hijack.
Sure, suited ace and a wheel card,
Yeah.
always reasonable holding to get it in there with, sometimes even to 4-bet with.
Interesting line for Brad here. Calls pre, check calls flop, and then just goes barrel, barrel. I get it. You pick up so much equity on this.
Neeme
on
calling
this turn.
station has been announced. Well, I tell you what, if that's true, it's going to serve him well here.
Rock hard. What is it? Rock hard rain believes that 450 looks like it's a bluff, but that's the beauty of the bet because it does look like it's that polarizing bet we've talked about, right? It's either all or nothing type of bet.
Yep.
And that's kind of the hardest decision right now in poker is deciding what that bet is, right? Like, is it a bluff? Is it a call?
Sure. These 80% pot river bets, they can be either one.
Because let's be like, Brad would probably make the same play with like king, queen of spades, queen, jack of spades or something. Maybe he floats, pick up the flush draw, and now hits the queen on the river. I mean, it's a very polarizing range there.
Here's the other question. At some point,
I think Neeme's going to talk himself into a call here because I don't necessarily agree that King Queen would bet out here. I think King Queen wants to check and call because they have so much showdown value here, and I think Neeme knows that. So a bet suggests that Brad's got some flop sets.
Well, then
maybe some turn straights.
Well, that's the other thing. Is ace 3 out of Brad's range here? And it's no.
That's what Neeme's
lets
asking.
and he let it go.
And the line that Brad takes absolutely does look like it could be a flop.
We will talk to them after the show about the
flop set.
We will talk to them after the show about the
that's true.
Brad's great bluff here on Neeme.
No, just the fact that
I think
hand might show up in both your vlogs.
In these things, I think they vlog their drinking after.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Last time they were drinking before, during, and after. I don't know why they limited it to drinking to.
And that's true.
Usually like 5 minutes later.
I saw one.
By the way, I do need to tell you, Andrew, you did put in your vlog a hand that I was in. We'll talk about it. There's a hand. Yeah. There's a hand where you never knew what.
At some point, that spot with Andrew, is he mentally flipping a coin? Is there additional information that he's really mulling over? Good grief, that 10-cent slot machine behind the poker room is getting a lot of action there.
I really think, honestly, that they're engaged in a leveling war there.
Yeah.
I think they know each other well. I think Neeme knows a couple things. He knows that Brad is not likely to lead with king queens there, which means he's repping hands that are stronger than that, like the sets and turn straights that we were talking about. And I think Neeme also knows that Brad knows that perhaps Neeme likes to call a little bit too much.
Okay.
Sometimes. And so if that's the case,
here we go. Ron's raised with
is
ace
he going to
6.
fire a value bet?
Blind versus blind.
And Vlad just calls with the aces here.
He 3-'d it.
Oh, he did 3-bet.
I
Okay.
watched the one with him in the where he shaved the cat. I watched that one like 3 times.
Which one?
Where he shaved the cat.
Like one of your vlogs.
Being a
As much as I like betting your hand on the flop,
I didn't actually shave it. Like,
this I don't like.
I know you.
I like the check
flipped
here on
him,
this
but,
one.
like, for the, it was fun.
By the way, your voice. That's really tough.
Yeah. Not like I lost a bet shape.
Neeme did not call. No, he did not call.
I
With
like
that.
his voice. The voice for Cosmo.
I believe it's because he thinks that Brad knows that he likes to call.
I don't even know if they're listening to anything I'm saying, so I will say that Andrew's off.
I think we should be able to buy it for you. Why not? Like the first one was good, the cup one. You're like, so if you come down here, make sure you bring your cup. You guys had your extra money in the cup.
There's the 40.
Folded all the way to Corey here, opening the 2 jacks.
Look at that. Brad's 3-betting again.
King 9 of hearts this time.
Ron's coming along with the jack 10 of diamonds.
3 ways.
I don't like the flat with jacks out of position.
Ron just cold calls the 3-bet with the jack 10 of diamonds out of the $5 blind. I don't know how I feel about that play.
I don't like the flat with jacks there either. Because now what does he do with his hand? If Brad bets here, he can't call.
He might need to call 1.
If he 4 bets out of the
Didn't
big
notice
blind.
this other dynamic that Corey started that hand with about $750.
All the more reason I don't like that flat there.
Absolutely.
I think he was our short buy on the day. Most everybody came in for the max, the 2K max. I think Corey's in there for 1,000.
Be nice. Be nice, guys. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I especially with that shorter stack, I really don't like the flat there.
That's okay.
$10 chips or what?
Yeah, we do some things a little different here. We don't, in our 5, 10s and bigger games, we don't use hundreds and quarters. We use 10s and $20 chips.
But I lie a lot.
I'm not sure why. We'll have to ask Mr. Director next time.
It's kind of just a West Coast thing. You know, coming from Southeast and a lot of other places, it's just standard. You see $5 chips and $25 chips in pretty much every single discipline of poker. But you know, there is some merit, and honestly, now that I'm used to it, I much prefer the $10 chips and $100 chips. You know, you've got a chip that's worth 10 times more than the other versus one chip that's worth 5 times as much as the other.
I guess I don't really have.
You know, quarters to black or quarters down to red.
I guess I don't really have a preference either way. I just don't like a lot of chips in front of me. So I like big chips to play with in general. I just.
But that's going to be a personal preference that translates no matter what the working chip.
Right, no matter what the working chip is, I'm gonna have as many of the big chips to play as possible. I just because I like space on the table. I like I don't like chips all over the place. So I just prefer to.
Others of us in the poker community, like the Mesa in front of us of
the Tower of Power.
Again, you are listening to Bellagio Poker on the Strip. I am your host, Dallas Scott. My co-host, Mr. John Harden. And Mr. Harry Corvasi is sitting in for our Mr. Director, Craig Lump, today. Here's our associate producer. He's the guy that looks up all the stuff that we need to know.
And I keep track of you guys in chat, too. Yeah, that's me.
He's the Mr. Moderator.
I'm on it.
So when you feel like typing out some sentence to berate members of staff, Harry,
I got
the one you're receiving.
I got a button for you. I got it just for you. Set up, ready, raring to go.
So Ron's opened the cutoff here, flopped an open-ended straight draw after getting defended by a couple folks here. Checks it, chooses not to c-bet again, and Vlad's going to bet his button after 2 players check to him with the mystery hand. Andrew thought about making a play there with King High. Ron's obviously going to come along. Is a blank. 5 high does not rate to be the best holding of the 2.
Oh, it does now. My goodness.
Now the mystery hand, as long as it doesn't contain a pair of spades.
We can't see it, but it could very easily be ace, deuce of spades.
He could pick up
king,
a
8 of
spade draw there and
spades,
check it for
ace,
sure.
8 of spades.
Contemplating putting some more money into the pot.
Oh, he's sizing him up. I don't know if this is going to be a...
All right. Well, I can now say with authority that was not a flush.
And Ron gives him the cards.
Or even maybe a pair.
Yeah.
Probably not a pair either.
Yeah, Ron was nice enough to show him the hand.
Actual poker? Can we give him one? It's got to be.
Cap for this is 2K,
Well, you
guys.
have to. Like when you.
2
500 minimum, 2,000s.
Our normal 5-10 game is not 3 blinds, so it's 5-10 with a $400 to $1,500 max. But because we have 3 blinds today, we did bump it up a little bit to 2,000.
Yeah, you get an extra 50 bigs to play with.
And remember, most of these guys are 2-5 players that are stepping up today to play in a 5-10 game.
I think we've got a decent mix, actually.
It's just a smattering of some 5-10 regs in here as well.
A
Well, not
cross
regs, but-
section of poker. Once again here on Bellagio Poker on the Strip.
But it is the standard for these meetup games that they play 2-5. The properties that they go to.
Now, does it just depend on where they go, whether they're playing 500 or 1,000?
Yeah.
When
I
they play
believe-
the
I
2-5
believe
game,
so.
they're just at the mercy of whatever the property they're at does.
They've got a couple properties that they enjoy frequenting, so I imagine there's some regularity with what they expect.
Okay.
But
What do you mean? Now you got 150.
there are definitely varying buy-in amounts throughout the city for a game like 2-5, and significantly varied. We have a 500 cap, but you can go some places and find a 1,500 cap.
Yeah.
3/4 size bet here by Corey.
Rob tries to appeal to make the bet 10 instead of 110. Corey declines.
No?
He says, I'll just take it here. Thank you very much.
Ace 9 good.
Pandemonium, the game info is wrong? What game info is wrong? No game info.
What's that? Gary.
Pandemonium says that the game info is wrong, and so now I'm anxious trying to figure out what he means.
Yeah.
Because
Oh.
that's the other half of my responsibility.
Please do not tell Mr. Corvesi he made a mistake here. You will stone cold tilt him for the rest of the week. And we'll have to listen to it.
Don't.
But if he did make a mistake, we'll actually get to talk trash to him.
Yeah, and I feel a lot of guilt and shame.
Don't let Dallas fool you. Harry's gonna sleep like a baby
Pandemonium
no
says
matter
it says
what
10.
happens.
Pandemonium says it says 10, 20, 40 on the screen. I do not see
Yeah,
that.
it does on the ticker.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
not your
Well,
fault.
okay,
Oh
yeah, that's
my
actually
goodness.
not Mr. Harry's
right.
fault.
We'll have that fixed for you in about 30 minutes. Type exclamation mark delay in chat to figure out.
I did go
Why
easy. I
it's
wanted to
30
go
minutes.
160. I didn't grab enough chips.
The world's smallest 10, 20, 40 blind no limit hold'em.
I don't understand Slots Pro's point here. The land of the free, then free poker caps on games seems hypocritical. I don't.
Oh, this is a long, drawn-out argument if he's talking about why the buy-ins are capped at different levels. I mean, there is some merit to having a maximum buy-in for some games that, it's a discussion that we could have for the rest of the duration of this stream. A lot of it's personal preference. Some of it is protecting your player pool as a operator of a card room. This is a market in which everyone is comfortable with cap buy-in no limit hold'em games. If you want to play big enough,
And
we have an uncapped game.
Everything above 510 is an uncapped game.
And this is the 30-second explanation when people want to complain about it to me in the room that I give. Look, we have an uncapped game. It's 10, 20, and bigger.
That's the right card.
In order to protect that game, we put a cap on the games below it. Therefore, our 510 game is capped at 1,500 to have a level of differentiation between it and the 10, 20.
And it's good for the 510 players because you don't want guys that play 50, 100 just coming over and just jamming and putting you in positions where you can't afford to call. And it takes the game out of you. It makes the game not a 510 game anymore. It's a 510, 75 game.
And then, obviously, the trickle-down effect is we need a cap at 2.5 where we do because the 510 is capped where it is, and
Right.
on and on and on.
And the 1-3 is capped because where the 2-5 is capped.
This
and
is
so on.
this is the thing to point out. The places that have small, uncapped, no-limit hold'em games, they rarely have more than two levels of games. Like, if there's a 1-2 no-limit game with no maximum and a 2-5 game with no maximum, the guys in the 2-5 no-limit game are playing as deep as they want to and have the ability to get that money in. There's no need for them to start a bigger game. Versus we here at the Bellagio, on a daily basis, have, at the worst-case scenario, three limits and sometimes even four.
Like I said, we do have uncapped games. Our 4-8 game is uncapped. Our 40 limit hold'em game is uncapped. If you want to play uncapped, no limit, step up to the 10-20 game or 20-40 no limit game. They're uncapped. You want to put up 100,000 and play uncapped, then do that.
Well, yeah, so hopefully we can bring some more stuff together.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
It's going to be so close, right down the street.
Cool.
I agree with Rantal.
Like I'm in trouble. They can't see my cards. 60% of my hands they can't see. I've been moving around.
Favorable Flop just asked for thoughts on a table max. Thanks for just joining the conversation. We just had a 6-minute diatribe about that, so we're not going to repeat it.
I mean, if they're going to do this all the time, they should.
We have a bigger no-limit hold'em game running presently, don't we? Is the 10, 20, 40 going right now?
It's been like 20, 40, 80, or
It's
been
yesterday
a
it
much
was
bigger
20,
game.
40, 80.
Yeah, so
Slightly
Yeah,
larger
but the
game.
thing is like, I guess, like,
This table's also older than I am.
who knows if, like, you know,
I bet it's 50.
Corey's got a flush draw here. Brad is betting. It's only $50.
So Corey opened pre on the button, got defended by Brad and Brad alone. Check, check, flop. And Brad fires turn. And Corey comes along with the nut flush draw. Brad trying to decide whether to fire another barrel Looks like he's going to choose to.
And Corey's kind of put himself in the spot here because he's playing so short. But even if he thinks he has the best hand here, he's putting into what, almost 25% of his stack to call off here, right?
Yeah, he's happy.
I actually feel like Corey has a little more than $585.
Yeah, 650, maybe 700. No, because that might be 4 black. Might only be 3 black on the top.
Yeah, that would make more sense. Yes, the min at this table is $500, big man.
Yeah, he bought 1K. Corey bought him for 1K.
Just hasn't picked up a pot, I don't think.
Yep.
I think the first hand he won, he like.
Oh, here it comes. Wow.
That's
Great
a hero call. Corey doing his best to get on the highlight reel.
This needs to be
Well done, sir.
Well, there's another spot where a dry king high board. A little unbelievable for your.
I didn't know if you caught that bit of it, but it goes bet call, and Brad just fires his hand straight into the muck. So,
doesn't even give him the opportunity to turn over the ace.
Yeah. It's one of those, man, I kind of wish you turned the hand over, so I had to show that I called you with ace high.
You might have done that.
He wanted to. He wanted to show it.
I'm not a big fan of showing cards, but if I think I can tilt somebody, I don't know if he can tilt Brad, but if I think I can tilt somebody, I
Time
will.
for time.
Looks like we got a dealer change here.
Miss Chrissy's coming into the box.
Thank you to Nate.
That's
for the last.
our must move game right there.
Yes, it is. Looks like it's nearly filled up.
Yes, and you will see some of these guys tomorrow night that don't make the game tonight. They'll be in tomorrow night. Again, we're doing the 5, 10, no limit hold'em, $500 to $2,000 buy-in. Wow. And of course, do not forget the 5 Diamond is coming up. You can see the schedule of events. I'm really excited, like I said before, about this tag team event. Find yourself a partner. It's $500 a piece.
Hi, good. How are you?
Come lay claim to a WPT title.
You find the whole schedule. Type exclamation mark WPT in chat.
There we go. There is the jar from last time. Zappos is matching funds up to $1 million. If you go to the page on Twitch, you can scroll down, find the link there. Going to end up in the same place. Victims Relief Fund.
Janet Jackson's here next week.
I know, I was like, fuck. Last time I had.
You know, at the radio station I work at, right? We have this like wall-sized poster of Janet Jackson. She's very scantily clad. She has some amazing tattoos.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. In amazing places.
I thought we were out of the
Today I
woods there
learned.
for a second.
Yeah. No. Left turn straight back into him.
Even if it's not, you're going to show me.
There's some tattoo artists out there that has bragging rights for life.
Yeah.
His kids probably have bragging rights.
Yeah, Zappos.com is the one doing the matching contribution, which, for those of you who don't know, is a local Las Vegas organization. Poor Andrew and Poor Andrew. The battle of the Drews here.
Okay, we haven't had a set in a while. When was last? We haven't had a set over. We've had a lot of sets, but we haven't set in about 6 or 7 episodes. So
yeah, it was like the first or second episode of the season.
Ron comes along.
Ace is dead. 3
Oh,
waves.
this call. This call from the ace 3 of hearts.
Oh, wow.
What was that? What was that about sets, Collins?
Apparently, if you put, I don't even know what it's like to hit a set anymore. I know a lot of people say that, but like.
And Ron just fires into the guys that open and then 3-bet the button.
This is Andrew's 3rd set tonight, right?
Yeah. Fine call here. You might slow down on a club, but otherwise, what are you raising for?
Somehow the board doesn't pair. Poor Andrew.
Wow, Ron's firing again.
I think Ron is going to fire 3 barrels with this.
Well, he can't possibly have an ace, can he?
He bets 2. He bets
Instead,
a
he's got
quarter-size
2.
spot bet. Ron's trying to represent ace-king here, right? Or ace-queen.
I don't know what Ron's trying to do here.
Okay.
Now Ron's gonna have
So here's the thing for
At
Andrew's
maximum
position.
1,100 in the pot going into a river with 1,300 in it, right?
John, what do you think about
No, I run
Andrew's
universe.
decision here? Obviously, it's either call or raise, but what do you think the merits are of call versus raise?
I mean, what hands are going to go bet here in Ron's position that are going to get blown off by putting in a raise?
Owning would be a lot better.
That's what I'm curious
The
about.
only
You know,
hand that
king, queen. You know, you might
Queen,
actually
eight,
get a
king,
guy
queen.
to shut down and
A
not
set
put
of
another
sixes.
chip in
Then
the
we'll be like,
pot.
hey, you come down and drink for free. You do your business.
That's a bad river card for Ron.
Now, obviously, there's some hands that are going to call a raise on that turn that aren't going to barrel this river.
I think
Andrew's
the only
made-
hands that are calling a raise on that turn from Andrew are hands like Jack 10 that are already beaten.
Yeah,
Right. A hand like
blocks the
Jack
rest
10 of
of it.
clubs might have bet
that
there.
is small.
Ace Queen of clubs might have went there, but I mean, Andrew's obviously not worried about those hands.
That is a small bet. It's 500 and a 1,200 with 600 behind. How it hasn't gone an immediate raise, I don't understand.
Well,
Immediate raise
because
tips Ron's off.
you'd
right?
like your opponent to call.
There
Yeah.
you go, yeah.
Well,
Now maybe we'll get a crying call out of it.
he's. I put this much in. I don't.
Ron sees it like, yeah.
And honestly, I think that was very well played by Andrew.
Yeah.
I think he
I mean-
calls in both spots to keep his range wide. His opponent keeps firing. If at any point he plays back at his opponent, I think his opponent has the opportunity to lay that ace down.
We've seen him flop the nuts, play him very well 3 times tonight.
Not difficult. That's true. That's
I had
true.
once had a guy in Biloxi, Mississippi, tell me, he goes, you play very well when you have the nuts. How do you play when you don't?
It looks like that's going to be it for Ron. I can't blame him after that run out there.
Okay, round on me. Who do you want?
We will see Ron.
Round on me.
We will see Ron
I
back
said a
once
round
again.
on me. She just came the drink, right? The drink. What do you guys want?
Sounds like Andrew's buying around from the table here.
All right.
Sporting
See,
move.
block, right?
A wake of a 3-boat night.
Yeah.
I don't know, like,
I am not. I am not opposed.
How much time? What time is it?
so
But
years
how
ago,
much did you play for? How much did
I
you play
was
for?
in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We were playing 3-5. No one hold.
What are they playing it for?
Yes, sir.
And
Because I heard they're playing it,
the
right?
Washington Nationals were in town playing the Milwaukee Brewers. And there were 3 players from the Washington Nationals at my table. One of them had just won the home run title the year before.
Okay.
And every time you have to pay for
I've never
alcohol
done it,
there.
so this will be you're popping my
So
cherry. there.
every time he won a pot, he bought a round.
So maybe 20. We go small, right?
Whether he stole the blinds or not.
Don't
So we were
hurt
just
me.
allowing him to steal the blinds for the $10 shots he was buying.
And this
I
is
know, I know.
Milwaukee,
So I'm-
where the free drinks are value, I imagine. It's not like Vegas where all the alcohol
No,
is free, right?
the drinks are $10, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I found Patron.
So we on or not on?
So Patron found Dallas.
20 bucks.
No, wait, what are you good for?
20. 20? Yeah.
Yeah.
You sure don't want to be
Yeah.
30 because if you put the 7 deuce on, it might cost you about $400 to get there. I'm just saying, you don't want to win $100.
It is
Wait, have you
possible
played the 7 deuce before?
Yeah.
that
You
the
have?
7
I've
deuce
never
game
played
is
it.
coming
Well,
on
basically,
here.
if you win
No,
with-
I know how it. No, I know how it works. I just saying I never played it.
And
sounds
he's like,
like
I'm not a
they're
dummy
No,
here. I
no,
know
no,
what's going
I
on.
know.
guys.
Just
Sounds like they're working out the details if they get some.
okay. You know how.
What he should really be saying.
Is that what it is? No, this is Straddle.
The
But
chips.
20%.
I've been winning and they've been moving this way. No. I just want to know if I need to push them. Oh, you haven't gotten complete? Okay.
The
Oh, yeah.
gentleman brag right there of,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm winning all
Yeah,
these
maybe I-
chips. Do
okay.
I need to relocate them to accommodate the RFID readers for the cards?
Man,
See,
tough
if I
spot
get
for
the
you
win,
right
remember what I
there.
said
I hate
about
putting my kids out in the yard and not defend them.
if I count this up, I bet you it's the most I ever
He
won.
just said, I hate to
Which
put my
means I
kids
should
in the
leave
yard
now.
and not
Which
defend them.
means,
Did you catch that statement?
There'll be no
This might be the
defense.
most I've ever won.
We have
I
make
wrote
sure
it.
he's okay with
The
it.
most I ever won.
He came from that 7. He came from
He's a
that
little over. Okay.
Yeah, he says his biggest score ever was $1,550. Pretty sure he's north of that figure
Yeah,
from
the last pot
nearly
was
that
almost
last pot
4,000,
alone.
right?
Yeah.
So you're good to go.
Must move player coming in the game. We're getting the information on him right now.
So we're playing
Big
seven
Ben,
deuce
yeah. I used to.
7 deuce game is on for $20.
Yeah, okay.
And Bill Bird, no, you did not. That is in the chat. That is no. That is not where the game is at in that part of the country.
A little bit better. What's that? You seen
I haven't seen it for anything else, so I think we're good.
Brad, look, another hand from Brad. He's-
Hold to him in the hijack.
Every
Standard
time
open.
Brad plays, he gets the cards.
That was like you wanted to fold.
Andrew called here with the queen deuce of clubs out of the blind, which isn't unheard of. But now he's going to have, I think that Rob has to re-raise here with this ace king of diamonds here, right?
Thank you. Yep.
Definitely a possibility, and he chooses to take it. We got a Conrad Creel is the new player here in the 3 seat from Murrieta,
Good Lord,
California.
at least think about it for a second. Don't make my bet look so embarrassing.
Nice hand, man. Nice hand.
Neeme came along for the 3-bet amount and flopped second pair. Top pair versus gutter versus pair of queens with a deuce.
I can't wait to ask Neeme about this hand because he's out of position. He comes down with the queen deuce of clubs.
Yeah. The only consolation, you close the action. 230 into about 500.
I'll show you if you fold. Both of you. Huh? No, I'll show you right now.
Brad's going to go hunting for a 10 here.
Oh, I thought that was
Wrong
it.
four across.
Well.
Pot's big enough for me.
What do you think about table talk?
I don't know. Me personally, when I play in a big bet format, I just basically choose not to speak at all while I'm playing a pot.
I agree with.
In limit games,
I'm not checking.
I just don't shut up.
I'm checking to control the pot.
I just feel like I think two things about the table talk is I think it really slows down the game. I think people start just talking for the sake of talking, and
yeah,
600.
I get really agitated in a time game when we're not getting hands out because I'm paying for a half hour worth of hands.
Yeah.
And I got the guy who tanks every hand, and then I got the guy who wants to talk about every hand for 3 minutes. Let's just play poker and keep going.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. Rob chooses to 3-bet pre, bet flop, check turn when the Jack 10 and nothing else gets
I
there.
think checking turn is the worst thing he could have done here. He's completely gave Brad control of the pot.
Harry just stepped out of the room for a minute. I got to catch you up to speed on this one. This is an interesting
Sure, we had
one.
some technical difficulties. I had to go
So
move the camera around.
it folded to Brad in the hijack. He opens the ace jack. Andrew calls in between with the queen deuce. Rob threes it out of the $10 blind.
With the ace king of...
It goes call,
Okay.
and then Rob c-bets into 2 opponents with the ace king. He now has checked turn, and Brad has elected to turn the ace jack off into some form of a bluff to the tune of $600.
I disagree with Big Ben here, thinking that Brad is starting to tilt. I think that he took control of the hand. Rob gave up control of the hand, which is going to allow Brad to take the hand away here.
All right, so we've got a 3-bet from Rob, right? So, yeah, he's got some ace-kings in his hand. He's got some pairs of jacks in his hand, 10s, maybe.
Is Brad hoping that he's up against exactly one pair here? Is that what this $600 turn bet means?
I don't understand Rob's play here at all.
Well,
I've used the phrase before, Mubsy, monsters under the bed syndrome. Is that what we're seeing here?
I don't know what game Rob normally plays here, so like I don't know how comfortable he is with these 5-5-10 stakes.
3-bet, C-bet, check, fold. I just, that's a pretty crazy thing to do when you have ace king and flop a king.
I mean, he has to exactly put Brad on a set or Jack 10. He doesn't have a set here because he's never flatting.
And
He's never flatting that flop with a set. His board is way too wet. He's never letting Andrew Neeme come in behind him.
I'm
Check
getting ready.
calls off the 600. Right. Is he going to beat him into the pot
I'm
on
getting
any
ready to
river?
make a comment about how he's thinking about playing for his whole stack here because 600 is such a large bet relative to the size of the pot and the effective stack.
All in.
Brad commits to his
This is why
line.
he could not check the turn and give Brad control of this pot.
I don't think Brad anticipated getting this $600 worth of value on the end. Or on the turn.
Wow. This is brilliantly played by Brad and horribly played by Rob, let's just be real honest. Rob gave up control of this pot. Wow. Well played, Brad. Oh, he showed him the ace jack.
Wow.
Nice hand, third.
Wow.
That's another one for the highlight reel, boys.
That's why you.
So bad to call
Spot control is so important in no limit hold'em, right?
If we take a second, Rob is describing basically why, it's not great. Not great to call that $600 out on the turn. He's putting you into a decision for your whole stack there. If you're playing that pot, you're playing that pot for all the chips that are left in front of you.
If you're going to call the turn without a scare card like a 10 or a jack, something that completes a straight or something, you have to be willing to call that bet on the river, right?
No, yeah, absolutely, which is why we have to get it in there on the turn.
Here's the limit analogy. Is how often is it correct to call 6th and not call 7th stud?
Did we agree on this?
Well, not never, but very, very
85% of the time, you're probably.
Wow. His scratching and indecision was 100% giveaway. All that body language on the turn. Yeah, I totally agree.
It's a discount.
Made very clear where he was at in that pot.
And Joe, you're right. He wanted him to fold ace king there.
Sure he does.
Hey, no coaching.
Now is Rob steamed here from this previous pot? Folds all the way to him on his second $5 blind.
I mean,
Yo, Bellagio pot streams some mixed game, high limit hold'em, limit 08. Oh, you're speaking my language, but unfortunately, our software doesn't really support that.
We'll do pot limit Omaha for sure.
Right. We can support flop games. We can't support draw games.
We can probably do Omaha 8.
Poker GFX just doesn't do it.
Does Poker GFX do big?
Can
we do 5 cards?
There are some powers that be that believe that running a limit format of any kind does not make for compelling broadcast.
I disagree with that.
I do as well.
I think the action in limit is so much faster that it makes it much more compelling.
But there's none of these big, you're never going to see.
For Hold'em and Omaha, I don't know that Stud is necessarily a game you would want to put on the stream or watch because, quite honestly,
it's like he's in your corner, right?
You got like instant coaching over there.
Young SP82, do you shove the turn as Rob there? Well, I tell you what, the answer is a firm I don't know. But what is true is that that's one option and folding is the other option. And I don't think there's a third option.
Yeah.
I know the third option was not giving up the control of the pot on the turn.
Sure, but in that spot where you're facing the $600 bet, I think you can play for all your chips or play for none of your chips.
Right.
But no in between. So would you raise all in there? Well,
I think there are so many hands that Brad does not have there because he did not 4-bet the flop, pre-flop. He doesn't have kings. He doesn't have queens there. Is Jack 10 maybe a possibility? But that's the precise hand you have to put him on to call the turn and fold the flop or the river.
And honestly, there's a lot of hands that would beat it. I don't fully remember the pre-flop action, but I think Brad can still have 9 and queens.
It goes Brad opens. Yeah. Andrew calls in between. Rob threes. Call.
Okay, so you can take the kings out of.
You can take the kings. You can take the queens out. I think.
Maybe.
Brad's not letting queens come by with Andrew behind him. He's not letting Andrew come in with a hand like ace-10 suited or something. Because Andrew's still behind him.
I don't know if he's going to 4-2 queens 100% of the time. I don't think he's going to 4-2 kings there 100% of the time.
I mean, look, we're playing 200 big blinds, so maybe he is. I don't know what his effective stack size is there.
It's 200 bigs.
If
in
it's
that spot,
200
it was 200
bigs or less, then maybe he is foring the queens for all of his money.
Yeah.
If it's 300 bigs, I don't think he can. I think calling is reasonable. Because you could maybe fold there.
No,
but then you're talking about
doing
like a Negranu, Esfandiari, Tom Dwan style hand, if you guys remember that from Poker After Dark.
Right.
Oh, the aces, kings, queens.
Right.
Gets away from queens pre-flop.
Yeah.
The type of action that you see in that hand is the type of action that would incite a fold to queens pre. I don't necessarily know that this.
Well, that hand
replicates
was
that.
raised. Did Negranu re-raise with the queens and then got 4-bet and then 5-bet shove?
I can't remember. But yeah, there was it was 5-bet back to him, right, when he let it go.
Yeah.
The donations going so far.
Which at that point, I think queens is a much easier fold. Especially for the effective 300 blind stack.
So discussion at the table is Chrissy, the dealer, is asking how the donations are going so far.
But this time we're doing it through Zappos, which is matching.
Oh, that's right. Zappos is
Dollar for dollar.
I'm donating mine today as well.
Oh, are you the one who donated last time? Okay, thank you.
Chrissy, the dealer, just announced she's going to donate whatever money she makes working this evening to.
And she did that last time for Team Rubicon for the Hurricane Harvey down in Houston.
Pocket Jack show here on the Bellagio. So Dean's mystery hand is open to $30, and Corey's going to look down in the $5 blind to 2 black jacks.
He just had Jack 2 hands ago.
Find a 3-bet there, absolutely. Would love to get to this flop heads up.
What jack is gone?
Couple nothing hands, and Dean's going to peel. Heads up.
56 call, heads up.
What's up, man? Good, how are you?
Corey has to back there, right?
I
Not
disagree.
specifically him.
I think that's taken away from him when you see the overcard. I think you got to move into check call mode. Now that you see that you've got a check behind, your hand is definitely feels better.
Now diamond comes
But
off.
I don't
diamond
necessarily,
comes off.
I don't necessarily think your line changes. I think check call is still your best play.
Yeah.
If diamond comes off, you're really sick about it. But in this spot,
That's a fair run.
you've got the
The
best hand.
analysis of this, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, you got it. Multiple hands.
Yeah, 4 hands.
If you bet anything but all in, I call it.
So much so.
You hear that?
Here comes the value bet.
Rob says if he
Did you
bets
hear?
anything but all in.
I think- I
With the
should tell
size
you
of the
all
pot,
in,
he
like,
only has an
the only
all-in
thing I
bet
think
left
of
to
is
make,
that,
right?
the only thing I could beat in my head was ace queen of heart.
You had ace king?
I had ace king, yeah.
It's a really tough
Yeah,
spot for ace king to be honest
like,
with
I'm
you.
like,
I think
what
that
if
there
you
are
could,
a
but,
number
I
of
don't see- I
hands
don't-
that
I
can
just
be
kinda didn't-
ahead of ace
no
king
jack
there
10
that
in
can be
there
in
for
Brad's
sure.
range. I really
But
think there
I was
are.
really
I think
hoping
queens
for
are there. I
about
think queens are
600.
there.
The other thing is, I think that
Nines are there. Jack 10 is a possibility.
Jack 10 of the things the only one. That board was so
Yeah, I just
wet
didn't think you had
with
it.
the
You
heart
raised where you
draw
were.
and the king queen, which opens up a lot of straight
call
draws.
the raise.
I don't
I
think
kinda like
that
Jack
Brad
10.
flats there with the
Oh, I
set
definitely
again
would have
because he
ace-
still has
ace-
Andrew
Jack
behind
10.
him to act in the hand.
You know,
Is he
but,
gonna give
I just didn't,
Andrew
I definitely didn't
value
think
to
it straight.
call
I just-
there with a hand like
I thought you
Jack
had king
10 or
queen,
maybe an
so
ace 10 or
it was what?
ace jack like he had to pull off the straight.
Andrew, you have a hand?
You might have wanted.
Uh,
6, 7, fold.
He can see what he has
Of
right
course, always aces. C8, raise.
Live streak, I'm sure that's not true.
Huh?
I could have ace king there even.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of combinations. There was a lot less hands I thought I could. There's less hands I could.
Yeah, you're not beating any hands for value.
Tough check raise, Chuck. Just tough to snap
Yeah,
that
you're
river
either
off,
like air
you know?
or ace
You're
queen.
playing it for
or
all
like,
your chips.
you know,
I think you're doing it on the
I figure
turn.
you bet the 600 with ace queen of heart on the flop or on the turn. But
Rob's explanation gets worse because he keeps saying that he
the
thought
only
he
way I
had 2
called
hands that he
the
could beat,
600,
and
if
yet
the heart
again he
doesn't
still
come, I'm
folds.
just
Well, it's a
assuming
tough
you're-
spot. You know, he's
you're
still trying to work it
probably-
out.
But he says that he put Andrew on either air or ace queen.
That was a great bet.
Or Brad, thank you. He put Brad on either ace, queen, or air, and he beats both those hands. So if you put him on the two hands that you can beat, and how do you talk yourself out of the call
If
there?
you're claiming that him putting the bet in on the river changes your perceived narrative of what his range is, I guess. I don't know. My question is,
and if you thought that those were the hands that he had on the turn, why not put it all in there and put him to the test instead of putting yourself in a spot where you have to make a decision?
You really don't want to run into Jack Center?
If I call the turn, I should just be pushing it all.
Here's my question: is in that spot when your first act going into that turn?
Because I'm either winning or losing. I mean, I'm not. I can't improve.
Do you like checking there ever?
So the ace king checking out of position.
Yeah.
But that's
Like if
the
you
thing.
shove, then I have to fold, obviously, the turn.
Yeah, of
And
course.
the flop
But I'm
action
saying, if I
was
call
you
the
led
turn,
and got called.
Yeah, he threes
I have
free.
to be willing to call the
C
river
bets,
outside of my
gets it
heart,
heads
or
up,
like
and then
four cards
knuckles
straight, or-
turn.
Like when a 4 comes off, like if I call the
I
6
think you have to check your whole range out of position.
I have
Okay.
to call you all in on the river.
So he just
And then the
my
strong
ace
parts
king's
of your
either good or
range,
not good,
you
and you're drawing
can
to a
get it in
flush.
with.
And the river can change
so
it.
he's just supposed
I mean,
to some percentage of the time
It's
stack
just a
off there with one
bad-
pair.
Not necessarily.
But do we
I
all
think
agree
there
that
are
if you
folds that you can make there? I think you can maybe fold there.
On the turn, but do we all agree that if he calls a turn for the effective stacks they had,
And
he
the
has to
river's
call
called
that's
the
a
river?
clubs.
no-brainer. That's
Yeah,
a
okay.
no-brainer.
If he
There's
calls a
just
turn,
no calling the turn, right?
right.
Because
Yeah.
it implies
it's
that you
done
need
on
to
the
make
turn.
a
Right.
stack, right?
Right. So you either call on the if you call the turn, you have to call the river on the hand.
Sure.
Because unless the river is the heart, or like I said, the jack, something that gives Andrew's hand more value or strength that you can put him on.
If a 4-card hand of some kind materializes on the river, maybe you can find a fold. But even there, you might still be folding too frequently.
So my man Conrad finally found a hand he wants to put some money into the pot with.
This is the first time we've seen him tonight. He raises with that. I think Conrad just watches the Bellagio pots cast all the time and knows that flopping sets is easy.
So Dean 3-betting here to $250.
Oh, wow.
Indo Bird, in the time games you are dealt in until you've missed a blind, whether you're there or not. Your hand is live until it is your turn. So Conrad Creel from Murrieta, California. That's Northern California, right?
I'm no California expert. Although I do have Google. It's,
You guys gotta come up with a cool
Dallas,
thing,
you know?
like when you tip at
What's that?
Murrieta, California. Is that northern?
Oh, I do not know what Marietta is.
I'm going to go ahead and guess Bay Area.
I feel like I think it's right north of the Bay Area. I think.
Just
I'm not
because
100% sure.
I've got two things to lead me to that. One, there's a ton of people there, and two, the guy's a software architect.
Southwestern Riverside County, California.
Riverside.
Riverside County.
That's the
Wow.
opposite
Riverside County.
direction. That is towards.
San Diego.
Thanks, Google. That is, that's
Riverside,
south of LA.
Riverside,
South and
which
east of
I
LA.
have passed through rather recently on my way to beautiful Coronado.
Slots Pro, it's dried up. A few years ago, they had a monster 25-50 game, but that game is gone.
What's the question?
How's poker scene in Reno? Back when we would do our tournaments up there.
There's actually an interesting little event going on.
Oh, we're going to do it? We're going to plug it?
I don't know. It's up to you.
I love plugging it.
Go ahead and plug it then.
Run It Up Reno. If you're a fan of Jason Somerville on Twitch, and you're certainly familiar with Run It Up Reno, but that event is definitely coming up here in about a week or two, up in October. I will be attending because I've got a horse title to defend.
Thinly veiled brag. We got an
Greg, we're gonna have a
interesting
pot
three-way
here.
flop here. We've got open-ended against trips against top pair with an ace kicker and a backdoor flush draw.
Rob's going to bet his open ender here.
You can't ask for much more in a flop than this.
So, like we're we're Valley Verde.
On these wet boards, I just don't.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, it's Green Valley Ranch. The next one, Valle Verde, right? Comes right into
Check raise, Chuck. I absolutely agree with what you just said there. When Brad makes that 65% pot size bet of $600 on the turn there, he's setting himself up to.
Brad has to shove there, right? Yeah.
He's got to complete that
right.
line. You know,
but Rob, we're talking
spot where he's
about
gotta see
Rob's
it
play.
through.
He's either got to, if he calls the turn, he's got to be another river. this is interesting because now Vlad's picked up the backdoor flush draw. And I was going to say on the flop, I don't like Corey's flat here with the trips because the board again is very wet and he's put himself in a position, especially with the weak 8.
That's what I'm almost positive. I mean, I'm like.
He might have moved the car. I think he wants to play a professional snowboarder.
Miracle card here would be the 6 of hearts on the river, right? Rob might be a little shell-shocked here.
Oh, yeah.
And Corey doesn't know it, but he's calling no heart, no 10 one time.
Oh,
my
that was-
God! Are you serious, Dallas? Listen, guys, we're watching this live. I promise we are watching this live.
I'm just making. I'm
Furthermore,
watching it
ladies and gentlemen
just
listening at
like
home,
you.
Bellagio poker games are actually on the square. We promise.
No, like I've said that every time tonight, asking for the miracle card, but
Accuracy by volume.
Right. Once
Accuracy
Rob
by
folds,
volume.
that card is not. It doesn't become irrelevant anymore because
Vlad just rips into him.
Sure he does.
All right, Corey. There we go. Nice hand.
Like, what was Corey thinking about that? Because he's not going to fold this, does he?
No, he beat him in. He didn't beat him in the pot, but there was 5 seconds of thought, and then
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
There it is.
What does he think he
I
has
thought,
there?
yeah, I thought maybe we got the
Yeesh.
hand misread for a second. But
I denied 7 of clubs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
You did.
That's why I asked for the 6 of hearts on the river because it would have been made the straight.
Made hand.
It would have made everybody's hand.
I'm surprised the lights in the room didn't go out when that card hit the river. My God.
Easy game. That is 100% slow roll. It wasn't that long.
Pocket fives would have been no good. That would have been 6.
Chrissy offering to assist with the payoff. I think Vlad wants to have the funeral for his chips real quick if it's possible.
That's all right. Let him light a candle.
Yeah. You know where they're ending up.
It's tough.
I guess
to lose
I
a
guess
hand like that. Right. A few seconds is fair. I
The
think.
flat call that I didn't like by Corey actually paid him off because he gave Vlad a chance to get there, and he got there.
Net roll, confused roll.
Confused. Roll.
Yeah. I don't.
with
Yeah, I
confused.
thought he saw the hearts and didn't realize he had the 6.
Doesn't he? Doesn't he
6
know
off.
I have a full house? What's he doing? Okay, yeah, I called.
It's like Andrew's the big winner tonight so far. Not Andrew Neeme, the other Andrew in the 1 seat. Corey only bought in for 1,000, so he's up 1,600 tonight.
I don't know. I
take
think he
1,600
might have
a day.
added on a little while ago because I didn't see him win any pots since
He won the pot.
grand
He
to
won a
get.
pot with jacks, and he won a pot with 9,
Right.
10 at clubs when he flopped a 9 and fired the bet. He actually won 2 pots with jacks within 2 hands of each other.
Yeah,
and then
but
he
right after that, I thought he had a decision where he let himself get down to like 600 and then added on. I might have the time frame if things wrong. Either way, fair result in the late runnings here. So it looks like an open and a 3-bet here. Andrew, oh no. There is the live $20 straddle on, a call, and
So
now
we
a
have a
raise
$20
to 80.
straddle on. They're
We're
playing
gonna
the 7
see-
deuce game.
Yeah. We're going to see a flop for sure, even if it folds around to this 10-9 of clubs.
You are watching Bellagio Pots, Bellagio Poker on the Script. I'm your host, Dallas Scott. Co-host is John Harden. And tonight, our associate producer, Mr. Harry Corvasi, is sitting in for our director, Craig Lump.
Hello.
Dean puts the 3-bet to $320 in here. What percentage of the time does Dean hold exactly the 7 deuce off?
Some percentage. The game exists.
There it
so
is.
You've got to treat it like aces.
No,
and there it is.
Is it the 7 deuce?
Was that it?
No.
It looked like it could.
Pocket jacks.
Oh, pocket
Jacks.
jacks. Okay.
I got too excited.
That's the thing about the 7 deuce game. You've now got 2 sets of aces. You've got ace, ace, and 7 deuce. Yep.
Going around the straddle?
Let's straddle around, guys.
Andrew, we're going around.
You know what? Technically, I can't. I've never straddled in my life except on the button, and I'm not gonna. I hate to tell you guys, but I'm 50 years old, and I'm gonna die.
I love this guy.
Hey, at least he's
This
sticking
guy
to
is
his
my
convictions.
favorite
He's
guy.
sticking
What
to his
he
convictions.
should have wrapped that up by saying, that being said, raise it.
This guy, right?
That's $20.
Let us see him raise a hand.
Now I'm being serious. So sorry.
He was joking about not straddling before.
I'm serious. No. In other words, I'll play the 7 deuce thing. I'll play button straddles. I somehow can't play straddles.
Can't bring
What
it.
about the rock? You ever play the rock?
The rock is okay.
I like the
Well,
How is all that okay with the under the gun
Hey,
straddle?
you know what? The captain, as I'm now calling him because he's got at least 3 boats in his
I mean,
fleet.
a force thing like this.
The captain is a
5x10,
principled man.
That's different.
Stick by your
Line structure.
Oh, this is going to be an interesting hand because, like, this Rob folded a 6, and we see a 6 and an 8 folded,
get answers.
and we got Ace 6 versus Ace 8 suited here.
Who do you have to answer?
There's 1 6 left, and I believe there's 3 8s left.
You think Vlad's steaming a little bit here from running his backdoor nut flush into?
Yeah, maybe
I
it's
actually don't. I don't mind this 3-bet in position.
Can't see it. Just
Yeah, and it's going to pay off for him. Unless the turn is a 6, or a diamond, or a 7, or an 8 to give him more.
Oh, the fear. They both got it.
See, that's I don't understand how you 3-bet that there and make your hand and check.
There's probably an argument against 3-betting. Here we are. Both players with
Now,
top pair and a
by
gut
checking
shot.
behind,
Should
he
be
is
one of them's open.
potentially going to get 2 streets of value out of Conrad. That's
If we're going to get existential,
I
I,
think
mean,
this
we
goes
can get very
check.
philosophical. I'm not.
Unless Vlad wants to try and find some value here with the Ace 8. Yeah.
tough. Just going to have to win it as is.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sure.
And the 8's going to get there for kicker power.
Plays. Plays.
$20 straddle declination on principle alone.
Hold on a second.
The captain
I'm in favor.
is a
I'm in
strong
favor.
opinion.
I'm in
Ayo,
favor.
that too. How much can you lose? It's only an extra $20. No. What's the worst possible scenario there, right? Everybody just flats the 20, and you get in a hand with like the 3-4 spades or something, and the deuce comes deuce 5 of spades or something like that to flop. What do? You lose a lot more than $20 here. Personally, I would straddle it, but I straddle until I lose.
Yeah.
When I sit down the game. I like
Maybe,
the straddle.
maybe what we're saying is that you're more susceptible to peer pressure than the captain here is in the 1 seat.
I like, actually, when I sit down in the game,
That's the second high five we've had tonight. That's a great streak.
Yeah.
when I sit down in the game, I like to straddle the first chance I get because I want to see how the table plays.
Sure.
I mean, I want to see if guys are going to 3-bet the straddle, they're going to let it go. Are they trying to trap me? You know,
I guess
like,
technically, I
Look,
Nothing is
straddles are
better.
useful tools.
it is.
Nothing is better than sitting
Life
down
of
in
the
a game, straddling the first hand, looking down to something big,
maybe I should let
and
you
getting to
guys
put
spread.
like a cold 4-bet into the pot. The first hand you
and then
play like a
Andrew,
psychopath.
you'd be-
And it just makes you look like you're just there to jam.
Just a
Yeah.
crazy person. But in reality, you've got a K and another K, or an A and another A.
So here's
or
an
something like
interesting
that.
one. Brad's put the straddle on. Conrad has raised the ace queen. Back to Brad's straddle.
10, 11 years ago.
He gets the 3. It's a $300 with the offsuit ace king.
Conrad hasn't been at the table
okay.
very long, so he doesn't
Like,
know
this
that
is
Brad's had.
First lap, really.
He doesn't know that Brad's had the big monsters all night.
He has. Brad's made a pretty decent turnaround from
This would be quite
the
the
kings
disciplined fold
versus
if
the
it happens
tens
here.
fold. Yes, it would.
I honestly, okay.
All
right, He
in.
says all in. I thought that the difference between all in or not was honestly whether or not this hand was suited.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
run
know
it twice. I think.
it seems thin, but
Ace queen.
Well, he's gonna lose that one.
2 times they said.
Wait.
That actually works for him.
know-
That bodes well for him. No, they
One
only ran it
board.
once.
Oh, one time.
One board for 2 times.
Well, he knew he'd get all
Nice
of his kings
hand.
right away.
Take it off, honey. Have a good night. Thanks for playing.
Conrad 1 and done. Nice
that
to
was
see you,
Conrad.
sir.
We do have another one coming in.
All right. We shall find out who is next.
Dream rises to the top, huh?
Very nice little comeback for Brad after the debacle with the 2 kings
I don't know
against
why.
tens
I don't.
fold.
Like, I'm not a big fan of the shove there. Like, you just really have to put Brad on the steal, right? The shove with ace queen there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think a fold was potentially reasonable. A call, I think, is just out of
Does
the
it
question.
make a difference that he only brought in the 1,000 or
Maybe I should
coming from the must move? I don't know what
This is live
happened
stream.
there,
I should
but
actually say what
No,
I'm-
he had
We've
about
got
14.
Greg S. Greg S.
Now that I
coming
think
in. I
about
believe
it.
his last name is Sullivan.
Straddle now.
There you go, John.
That I've lived with for
wow, this
25
is
years of my
this is
life.
a verbose.
Yeah. So I guess
Harry,
I
tell them how to
Yeah.
get on the stream if they want to be on the stream.
Certainly. Guys, if you want to be on the stream, first of all, you can type !seat in chat, and that'll give you a nice audio rendition of how to get on stream. But what we would like you to do is get a hold of
And
us
then you
on
guys
Twitter,
will-
at Bellagio Poker.
All right,
Tweet
fine.
at
You
us,
guys at least can,
follow us, we'll follow you back, start a series of DMs where
curious
we'll
on the
share some
Super
details
Straddle
about the streams that are coming up and whether or not you can
No,
get in
no.
those games. We
Yeah,
run
it
2
was-
games on a Sunday and a
I kinda
Monday
like the sound of it. Super
every 2
Straddle
weeks.
Lake.
Next one
Seems
coming
like-
up is 5-5 PLO, October 22nd and 23rd. After that, we will have the opportunity to play 5-5-10 No Limit Hold'em once more.
Whoa!
Oh my goodness!
Kill the camera!
I think somebody bumped the
Oh
camera.
yeah. That was actually what I was out fixing about a half hour ago.
Because we are on a 30-minute delay here.
So 30 minutes ago,
Yeah.
Jason Marinucci was back in that office firing off a stream of expletives that you cannot believe.
Yes, Jason is our cameraman, a.k.a. tournament director here. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
One rule. They had one rule.
Now, not to say that it's pointed at the right spot, but at least it's not going to fall over.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not.
I think it's too far to the right. Now it's got double
Anyway, I think the camera going down interrupted my.
Well, yeah.
Long story short, get at us on
Trump's
Twitter.
being ruptured.
Get at us on Twitter.
Oh man.
Tweet us, follow us. We'll follow you back. We'll start
So,
a conversation.
I need
Get
you
on here.
to.
Have
I
some
need
fun.
you to Google another city for me.
Oh boy.
Lynden, Lynden. That is in Washington State.
I believe it's just south of Seattle.
Okay. Dallas says south of Seattle, and he is.
Well, it's safe because there's
One
not a whole
time.
bunch north of Seattle that's still in this
Okay,
country.
you blew my strategy here.
Yeah. $1, Bob.
What
That's
if
what
I
you
were
just
to tell
did.
you that it's possible that this is north of Seattle?
Got 'em.
And by possible, I mean it is 100% north of Seattle.
Yeah, it's on the border.
It is on the border. it
have-
is 20 minutes from
I had
Vancouver.
90% of the state in my range.
Yeah.
No good.
And I missed.
Yeah.
No good.
Oh, we got
Lyndon,
hands
Washington
here.
spiked the
Look
one
at
out.
look at
Queen
this
Jack,
limp
King,
fest we
Queen,
have
King
here.
10, 8-6. We don't know what Dean is holding here.
Dean, now is the straddle not on? No, it's not. So Dean just limped under the gun, and the world decided to come along to the flop of deuce deuce tray.
Our wonderfully bald Craig Larson, who is our poker manager, is helping us out tonight. Leslie's on vacation. So, like, if you can't get a hold of Craig Lump, just come here and talk to Craig Larson. Is this the right flop?
Yeah, it checked all the way through, and Rob finally said,
He
"Ooh,
ate
I
us-
have a
He
pair."
ate us a monster.
I mean, if you really want that 120 in there, put a $1,000 chip in there. I'll give it to you.
Oh.
Thank you, sir.
That was a very interesting hand. Oh, we didn't have table view because Harry's back there.
I mean, I had a hand.
Proof
but
that
I
this
did
is on
not
a 30-minute
have
delay.
$40 to
Because you're sitting here talking to us now, and you're on the
Wasn't
screen
me.
fixing the
From
camera at
the
the same time.
future. Okay.
How's the commentating going?
There's Harry.
Oh, look, there it
I
is.
saw your post. I was.
That's
you were
actually
out
a
here.
different
What's going
version
on there?
of Harry. If
All
you've
right.
watched any Rick and Morty,
Yeah.
that's Harry from another dimension.
Oh, God. I forgot how old you guys are.
I had to make my Rick and Morty references. Sorry.
Because there was a thing early on.
Now you're just trying to get some camera time here, right?
Yeah.
That's the back of your head.
I wish I double straddled.
Double straddling is allowed at Bellagio. Triple straddling, quadruple straddling is allowed at the Bellagio.
Okay, so story time. We win our previous main event
Yes.
champion from 2016. One time I was dealing to him a 2-5 game in this very house wherein it was straddled all the way to the bottom. 2, 5, 10, 20, 40, 80, 160.
160,
If
320.
you wanted to open the pot,
3 players.
you were all in for 500 because this was 2-5, of course.
Yeah. Awesome.
Quite the game that was. I can tell you.
Were there any, did anybody not call? Like, I mean, if you're the short stack there, how do you fold anything, right? You have so much value in
Yeah.
that hand. Like, why
Yeah.
would you fold anything?
Honestly, in the end, I think that on that particular hand, they only saw a flop like 3 or 4 ways, but Kui was getting into it with another gentleman in particular. Not getting into it, you know what I mean, but trading poker-related blows back then.
Button heads. Not a fair turn card for Andrew's hand here. Flops the jack-eye flush draw and picks up top pair on the turn. This is another limped pot.
Dean's got top, well, now
Had,
middle pair
yeah.
and a gut shot.
Gonna call one street.
That was
Gonna call two streets.
God, I know a 6 is going to come up here.
Oh.
Yeah, you thought that completed the
Close.
straight.
Close. I saw a lot of pips, and I had to think.
Is Dean gonna bet this? If he is, this is a great bet. Because Andrew cannot think that Jack Deuce is the best hander, right?
Have we had a spot tonight where Dean has not known exactly where he was at in the hand?
Well, right here,
That is
Andrew
a fair
calls.
question.
No, I think even he even knows where he's at. He's got a bet to win.
I think that's a very fair assertion.
I guess I don't know what hand he was trying to represent there with the bet. The
A
10,
worse
7
one.
straight.
A worse hand.
Queen 10 straight, maybe? I don't know.
That's true. I didn't even think of that left.
I just finally understood. I was trying to figure out in the graphic, the under the gun player now says UTG/S. And I figured out that it's under the gun or the straddle because I'm an idiot and just figured that out.
Actually, 8. I tried to be short 8.
I didn't even notice it, so I must be a bigger idiot.
Have you seen the 3B distinction?
Yeah, third
that we
blind.
have there? Yeah, right. That took me a good 20 minutes. That was only my
Oh,
first
Harry.
night.
Harry.
So
Welcome
I've got
to the show,
excuses.
Jack Ace.
Cut there means cut off. BTN.
Actually, I do have
SB is small blind, big blind.
Dean, that's his name. DEAN.
Yep,
I do
that
have
is
a
You're
true.
welcome.
That much
6
I know
is
to
the
be
seed
sure.
he's in. His name is not 16.
All right, so our nearly Canadian friend Greg here
the
is
year
finally
is,
down on the table from Linden, Washington. He's a chef.
Okay, year's
Been
1999.
playing poker for 17 years. He was playing online for
No,
many years.
It's 1999.
Once claims this is a strong one. $11
$11
buy-in online tournament.
Okay.
Won $3,400.
That's not a bad ROI.
Now, I might look like an old guy now, but
That's
in
strong.
1999,
That's not a
I was
bad ROI
the
at all.
youngest guy at the
I
table.
actually heard
So I'm 50 now. So
Greg
1999,
talking to
72
Andrew,
years ago,
not even
32,
Andrew S.
32 years old.
before the stream, saying that he's down
32
here in
years
Vegas
old,
for a while,
1999,
trying to see
Palm Springs,
if he can
and
survive
we're playing
doing it.
If he can get it going.
Limit.
Yeah.
As a matter of
Here's-
fact, he's
Okay.
one of the guys.
A
One of
guy about my age
here's a guy
comes to the
that we
table
pulled out of the internet
and he
void.
sits
Basically,
down.
he contacted
And
us on
everybody
Twitter,
says,
told us that he was
all these
coming
old
to
guys are
town.
like,
He's
"Hey,
going to be
Phil,
here for a
hey,
month.
Phil, hey,
Wanted to
Phil,"
play on
you know,
stream.
okay.
We got in touch with him. Let him know
And
our
then,
dates.
and I don't
And what's the
recognize
Twitter
the
handle
guy,
that it didn't?
and I'm
Living the dream.
playing
At
my
Bellagio
game,
Poker.
At
and,
Bellagio
you know,
Poker.
about
Go, find it. Follow us. Tweet us.
about a half an hour goes
We'll get
by.
back to you. Get in our games.
Well, maybe less. 20 minutes
You
go
too.
by. And then this guy, Phil,
Greg
says,
Sullivan Adventure.
so is anybody going to introduce me to the new guy? Is anybody going to introduce me to the new guy? No one says anything. And you know what they say, you know, what is it? In 30 minutes, if you can't spot the fish, you're it, right? So I was thinking to myself, wait, this guy Phil's talking about me. So I go, hey, and Phil's right across the table. And I go, obviously they're talking about me. And I go, Phil, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Andrew. He goes, okay, nice to meet you, Andrew. That was it.
Is this a Phil
Although then
Lock or a Phil
he
Hemmings?
proceeded
Sounds
over,
like a
now
Phil
it's
Hemmings.
36 limit. He proceeded over the next hour and a half to take $80, 80 of my dollars and 3-6 limit. It was like a year later. I'm watching TV.
Is this
and
an
I'm like,
anti-joke?
That's the guy. That's that guy, Phil Hellmuth. Who did that to me?
Help me.
So it was Phil Hellmuth. He had already won the World Series. Yeah, he won the main event.
89.
And I just hadn't watched. I didn't watch TV. I mean, poker on TV. I had no idea. Where was that?
If you don't straddle under the gun, you don't watch poker on TV. What is wrong with you, Andrew?
Yeah, in Palm Springs, not Palm Desert, not the.
Neeme flops,
not
middle
the
pair
Indian.
here
It was a card.
against Greg.
3-6 limit. Do we have 3-6 limit in the city?
All the guys were
There
60
used to be
80
3-6
years
at the
old.
Mirage.
And we're like
Might
the
still
two guys
be,
were
but
like
there used to
130.
too.
3-6 limit is the first limit hold'em I ever saw at my first house.
Santa Fe place, station on the north side plays 3-6 limit.
For me, it was Sands, Bethlehem,
Oh, okay, yeah, so
Pennsylvania.
he's a
I
little
dealt
older.
3-6 limit, my
Yeah.
first limit hold'em.
Then bet hold'em. Yeah, it used to be 3-6 at
I don't know. It was funny for me.
MGM.
It was
It
like
used to be 3-6
yeah, you know,
at
it's just kinda
Harris.
like I had no idea. you know, that's still helmet.
Back in Minnesota, at Canterbury, they had every limit: 2, 4, 3, 6, 4,
Oh,
8,
that's right.
6, 12, 8,
16,
16, 15,
It's
30,
crazy.
20, 40, 36.
The first time I went up there, I was like, how do they support all these games? How is there not just
But there's
like
7 of each game going every
it's
night.
unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, in 1999,
You just
I
flip
don't
a
know
coin?
if it might have been 1-2 no limit. And like
I remember when I made that jump from 2, 4 to 3, 6, and 4, 8. Boy, I thought I was like,
No,
No limit wasn't really fun.
Reminds me of a Ron White joke when I saw him do stand-up out here. He opens his show this way. He says, does a penny slot machine player turn to a nickel slot machine player and say, man, you just don't give a damn, do you? Don't you have a family?
I'm here to tell you that
nickel
there's
after nickel.
nothing. I'm here to say there's no such thing as a penny slot machine.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't hit again. It's $1.50 to $5 a pull. Like it's
500 ways.
I love it.
This pocket gets too heavy, and I said I can pull it out. You guys can count it and put it in the jar as we go. That way it doesn't freeze.
Jay-Z, Hova coming to the T-Mobile Arena.
yes, sir. 28th of this month.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how much the face value of those tickets are.
Well, if you want to know, you can click on our link in chat.
Is there a ticket link there?
Exclamation
It's
mark.
not just sold out.
Jay-Z.
Do I want to go? Honestly,
October
I
28th,
appreciate
Jay-Z
it.
special guest Vic Mensa.
buy
Buy
tickets.
tickets.
Being on the radio sometimes has
Yeah,
its
I've-
perks.
Yeah. What day of the week is that?
The 28th. It's got to be a Friday or a Saturday.
Yeah,
right?
it's a deal breaker.
No, it's it's Saturday.
Thank you.
Andrew Neeme firing the 3-bet in here with the 7 deuce. Need to get that sweet, sweet overlay money. This
People
went,
who play
this
slots
went,
must hate money.
This went open by Vlad, flatted by Dean, and Andrew in the first $5 blind just.
Coach Ferg, yes, this is the 7 deuce game is on. It's $30 per player. Neeme is going to try and win a pot here. He's got some implied odds because of the 7 deuce.
Got it head up against the opener.
I liked it more than Bond most of my life.
It's actually not a bad flop for 7
Not
deuce.
at all.
A hand that could win the old-fashioned way.
Yes. Yes, Adat. AODAT2. They are playing the 7 deuce game. That is why Neeme is playing the hand the way
Is
he
it 20s or 30s?
30s.
Just give me a 300 level seat there, Harry, and give me a number.
$40.
That ain't bad.
That's your cheapest ticket
All
price.
right.
$40 plus tax fees and all the nonsense. But $40 is your baseline. You spend as much as $200 if you'd like to see the Hova.
200 is the most expensive ticket you can find?
On
No,
this
no.
particular website,
Okay.
I'm sure if you
There-
wanted to throw more money at the
No,
concert,
there-
you could
there
find
are-
a way to do so.
They're $3,000 and $5,000 seats.
Andrew
That's all.
deliberated for quite some time here before firing this flop for $260.
We
you
haven't
think
seen a
there's
7
any-
deuce played. Do you think these guys even remember they're playing the 7 deuce game?
Yeah, it's not. It has not come up yet.
Yeah.
Do you think there's, as far as live tells that we both talked about discounting Dallas in the past, but there was a substantial delay between when that flop came off and a heads-up pot after you have 3-bet it and to where he fired this $260. Do you think that comes into consideration whatsoever? Or was it just possibly that he was almost leveling himself before? No.
I actually like the delay in this hand because now, like I think by making that delay and the fact that Vlad called behind him, he's representing a hands like 9s, 10s, or jacks. Wondering if Vlad flat him with over. You know what I mean? Like when actuality, he really wants. He doesn't mind a call here with his draws, but the implied odds if he can make Vlad fold. Is that a raise? That's a call.
Yeah, it took Andrew a solid 30 seconds to put that back.
Yahtzee. not only is he going to win the pot here, but he's going to get an extra 240. Well, he's in the pot, so $210.
What if he finds a way to chop this one with Vlad's mystery hand?
Now, the thing is that it's going to be tough for Vlad to continue with the range that he
Well,
has
Andrew
declared
checked, which is a
himself as
brilliant
having.
check here because he's not going to get put on the 7 deuce or the deuce here. If Vlad had a hand,
I would really be surprised if Vlad bets here. Unless he's got like deuce.
it's a bad card for Andrew.
Yeah, not a great card for Andrew. Wants to just show down his straight, collect the pot, and the additional winnings.
Is Andrew forced into a call here because of the 7 deuce case
he
now?
He checks so that he can call. If he bets and then gets ripped in on, he may actually have to try and
Slots
find
Pro,
a
you
fold.
can't play Omaha and Omaha either.
Oh.
7 deuce game.
There it is, the old-fashioned way. 7 deuce and the best hand.
I don't know whose is whose. Who's each or just Sunny?
Extra 160?
Hate when
No,
that
Did you have any?
140.
happens. Hate when that happens.
Bluff. Did you have a beer? Oh.
Thank you.
I tossed in 20 for you.
Huh.
And you actually, we're doing 7 days.
Yeah, yeah.
I already tossed it.
Oh.
I already tossed it. I already and you checked it.
Oh. Who was it? Oh, was it Andrew at 2?
No, I did.
Yeah, Bink is right.
Did they tell you about the 7 deuce? You were playing for Owen, that's right.
Such a delightful word. But my favorite use of the word is when somebody wins a tournament, because using the word bank, I get it. A turn card comes off bank. There's no one bank moment over the endless toil of playing a no-limit hold'em tournament with the big field. Oh yeah, it banked the Venetian tournament for some odd thousand. Bank's not something you do over a course of hours. You do it on one street.
I did have a spade.
Unless you've got a little bell.
Yeah.
Bring a bell on stream. We bink that over.
If you try and gimmick up this stream with the bell.
I'm reading the chat here, and they're all
That's
talking
been
about
done.
whether or not Andrew did the right thing by checking the turn. I think he did, and I agree with Boy Vegas here that it showed weakness, and he gave Vlad a chance to
Give
bet.
him rope.
Yeah, exactly. He gave Vlad a chance to make the mistake, because really what Vlad is representing there is no prepared in this 5-high board of some variety, right? He opens, he flats a 3
Now he
bet.
thinks
Now
that,
we're
well,
thinking
maybe I
about,
can
like,
win this pot with a bet because Andrew doesn't have an ace here because he checked.
Yeah, and at very least, Andrew's check gives him the opportunity to take
Check,
that line.
right,
He's
right.
disciplined enough to just check behind with whatever value he still has, showdown value he still has.
Like you said, check so he can call.
Well,
two
yeah,
terms
Andrew
that, like-
checks so that he can call on the river. Yeah, exactly. But the check on the flop is mostly to make it so that Vlad can make an error. If he leads there, his aces got there, which he could be, he could bet an ace there in position on the 3-4-5. So it's going to be very difficult for Vlad to continue there if he fires out at him.
Our
Much
super
more likely
director
for him to
Matt has
make a
just
bluff line.
informed me that we got about 30 minutes left of the strip tonight, or stream tonight. 2 terms that I don't like in poker. We've talked about it before. I hate grinder because I just feel like it has a negative connotation, and I don't like the term villain either. Like why? Like the other guy is always a bad guy because technically you're both villains in the hand, right?
Well, we're all the stars of our own
universe,
right? Of our own
universe.
story.
Yeah.
Me against the world.
Right.
Because that guy thinks you're the villain too. Like it's
and you are.
Yeah.
To him.
Right.
But
Vlad's
you're the
open,
star of your own show.
Vlad's opened another one here, and Rob has chosen to 3-bet the jack 10 of spades on his button to 160. Andrew, I flop a pair.
I flop a set in full houses all night long.
Finally, the captain. Captain Andrew.
Captain of the fleet. The fleet of boats, which he has many
I think
of.
those are the only 3 hands he's won tonight, though, right? But he's won them for big.
Oh, my gosh, not a big.
He would have missed this. He would have missed
This
this.
is a-
This is a good hand flop for.
It's a fair flop for 3-betting your button.
I like this 3-bet out of Rob, though. I like these kind of bets on the button. I don't like giving the blinds a reason to call.
Yep.
And he wins the pot with a flush draw.
7 deuce session saver.
7-7. Oh.
Integra. Play high roller slots. You win big jackpots. Yeah, you also lose lots of money. I have a friend that only plays $1,000 slots. Either wins at 100,000 or loses 100,000. That's
Oh.
I don't know. I think I derive more money from playing the scratch-off tickets.
right.
We used to do that when I was back in Atlanta. No matter how much the scratch-off tickets were worth, the roll of them was $300.
Right.
So we would go in and just buy a roll of lottery tickets. The best story I've got is a guy that ran a little 1-2 no limit game and had a bad day, had $300 left. Went and bought a roll of tickets, roll of $1 tickets, and he went through all of them.
How many tickets in a roll, by the way?
Welcome to the conversation, Harry.
I was watching the poker.
No matter what the denomination of ticket, the roll was worth $300.
Oh, okay.
So we went out and bought a roll of $1 tickets and
That's 300 tickets.
Went through. In this instance, yes. If you do the math, it comes out to 300 tickets.
If it's $5.
So
they're 50. All right, sorry. Go on. I was going to troll, but
Harry, when was the last time you got punched in the face?
Legit interested to hear the conclusion of the story, John. Please
All
tell
right.
it.
So he goes through the whole thing. He takes the winning tickets he has and cashes them in for more tickets, gets the winning, you win a free ticket one, cycles it all through. And he does this enough times to where the last time he has to make the sad walk to the gas station, he's got a single scratch-off winner for a single free ticket.
Wow.
And he's just on suicide watch.
Wow.
He gets in there, he says, give me the last ticket you got, wins $1 million.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Well,
Volume.
That's fairly real.
Volume. I mean,
Accuracy by volume.
So, do they do pull tabs in
No, but I have been to the beautiful state of Minnesota and played some pull
in
tabs.
Minnesota, they have to legally tell you how many
How
winners
much
of each.
money is left in the pool,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So you get to a point where you count the number of tickets divided by how much is left in the
They
pool.
buy out the whole
box,
pool? Yeah.
right? Because if it's positive EV, you buy, even if it's for $100, you buy the whole box because you're guaranteed to win $100. But it's crazy how people are sitting there doing the math and trying to figure out you're waiting for other people to go buy the tickets and the thing and then return them. So
you're just watching them very closely.
Yeah.
As they hope
It's almost like Alan Kessler and slot machines. It's kind of like.
You had me until that analogy.
I tell you, I'm good at these 3-tip pops.
All right, 7-6 of diamonds wins a pot.
Unfortunately, I win 25, 25, 25.
Yeah, the guy ended up buying a house and a car and got a real job. And
Greg, what's your...
7-6 of diamonds from late position. Not a bad opening.
So I'm glad you said it, because $1 million isn't really much money anymore. I was actually doing research the other day on how the most money you can make off $1 million without taxes is 4%, so it's $40,000 a year. But after 18 years, you can't outrun inflation on it.
Wow. So there's no point?
Yeah.
End it now?
Just spend the money. Yeah, you might as well just stop the agony and just spend $1 million.
Rob, sorry. You have a twin brother named Steve.
You have a twin brother named Steve. I'm pretty sure it was just declared.
That 5 has a twin, and it's another 5.
It gets worse and worse.
That might be one of the worst.
I got a career in this field.
You got a career in something.
Oh, I'm glad you're having a good time.
I am.
We'll never see you again.
I'm having a great time.
Craig,
hear me,
words
but
I
you'll
thought
hear
I'd
me.
never say. Craig, please come back.
He didn't know we were playing. They don't know the spread is except for this.
Pair against Squadouche once again. Other states that have pull tabs don't have to tell you what's left. That's like gambling or something.
Then you should go to Minnesota to play pull tabs where they have to tell you what's left. You have to take any advantage you can get gambling, right? And that's a huge advantage if you know what's left in the box. However, conversely, when people know what's gone from the box, they don't buy those tabs anymore.
So Vlad check called a bet on that flop with just 9 high, looking to do something with it on a later street.
Looking to go run around our hearts and miss.
Now's the time, Vlad.
Yeah, I mean, what's funny is he did turn some equity.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cards that give him a draw, at least.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Rob
Yeah,
beat him
yeah.
into the pot here, so.
Oh, wow. What was Vlad representing there though? Like, I mean, it didn't make it. The hand didn't make any sense.
Only a
his
queen.
line made no sense, right?
Only an actual.
The only
queen.
thing he had to have there was king, jack, queen, jack, something clubs,
The
right?
most timid pair of nines in
Yeah.
existence.
Right? Yeah. No. Like he. No, it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, there's no betting for value with 9-9 there.
No.
On the overcard combo.
Yeah. Want you? Do that.
Did I sit
There's
down?
checks. Thank you.
We gave all our chips last time to the.
And this time.
And this time too?
Yes, sir.
You guys better be giving little red birds up, especially when you get my
Oh,
chips.
pardon me. We gotta.
Isn't that great? Just in case you guys didn't hear that, Chrissy donated all the tips that she made last time to the Hurricane Relief Fund. She's doing the same thing this time. Class act, that Chrissy.
Bring him in.
We got a misdeal here because Andrew's not in his seat. It's a time game. He does not get cards.
Oh,
Once he
yeah,
misses. He
he's
gets
in.
cards until he misses his blind. He's not in his seat to take the blind, so he should not have been dealt in.
Oh, yeah, the 3-blind game can cause some confusion in
Yeah.
that spot for sure.
800, okay. I had a yellow chip. I was going to give you a yellow chip.
Just like all games in this room, you get cards until you get a button.
Oh, you said I was going to. Give
No,
you a
all
yellow
time
chip.
games in this room, you get cards until you get a
What do you
button.
know? Just in time.
What did I say?
All games.
Oh, yes, all time
Just in
games.
time.
All time games in this room.
And look, they had to do a misdeal, and Andrew
What a-
comes back in time for the blind.
Perfect.
Good clean living right there. You get to take a step away from the table. You still come back in time for your big blind, not 20 seconds later.
Play your checks. You let them know? Thank you. Would you like black or orange? Black.
Folds all the way to Greg here on the button with the popular Jack 10 suited open. Looks like Vlad's going to come along for $40. Heads up.
Which is my favorite hand and one of your favorite hands.
And that's a fair flop for the Jack 10 of clubs.
Yeah.
Not the worst card. Couple blanks running off here for the Jack 10, but he does still have third pair.
I don't know why Greg didn't bet this. Like, he could have just fired at this all the way. We don't know what Vlad's hand is, but he's got the pair, the flush draw. He turns a straight draw to go with it. I feel like
If you go check on the turn, yeah, Vlad could potentially pick up an ace there.
Right.
That's no brainer. There's nothing you can get me out of the hand. I'm falling to the river if you show me. But no, the fives. Like I knew I was.
And Vlad's gonna win with a fold.
The ace king is check.
Well done.
Like in my head though, it doesn't matter. It's only one hand. But I don't play no way.
Thank you.
I played my whole life. I played like limit, high limit. So like my bet sizes are wrong. Like honestly, I swear to God, like all my bet sizes.
Man,
I think
poor
Rob is
poor
still
Rob
talking
is
about that
gonna-
ace
he's
king
gonna
hand.
autopsy this hand.
But I did at least.
Best part of it is
the next
it's
24
immortalized forever on the internet.
Yeah? Yeah.
You too can immortalize your mistakes forever on the internet. If you'd like to do so, type !seed in chat. Nightbot will give you all the details on how you can get involved in the future Bellagio pot stream.
Well done.
Thanks. See, cut out for this.
Oh, man. You know, I kind of hope that Rob makes a final table of a major tournament here at the Bellagio. I'm going to find the perfect screen cap of him in agony putting in that $600 turn call.
Probably not.
Print it into a T-shirt, pass them out to the crowd.
I want to get on that vlog. This is gonna be a vlog hand right here.
Oh boy.
It might. Oh, I thought that was a spade.
I saw two spades
So did
also.
I thought I saw the queen of spades also. Yeah. But this could be a block.
Oh, maybe. Oh, he's going to take it away from him.
There you go.
Well, there were only 3 overcards, so I called. Drawing to the nuts.
He's not wrong. He's betting his
Yeah.
whole range, clearly.
Yeah.
Will he fire 2 barrels in his whole range? He certainly
Yes.
Thank you so much.
will. He certainly will. This is an easy fold now, whether he likes it or not.
But let me ask you guys, do you think Rob's talking too much and he's giving away stuff?
I tried to turn him into clubs.
He is
I
talking
mean,
a lot.
yeah.
That I can say with
is
The
authority.
hand that he
lot.
played with Brad, he talked himself. He talked Brad into being able to play the hand well by giving him way too much information on the hand.
I figure if I don't know what the river is, I have a better chance of winning the pot by betting. Because the club
Another
comes
shot
up.
of the little tip jar here. It's going to a Vegas Relief Fund. If you scroll down from the video feed, there's a link down at the bottom of the Twitch page. Is that correct, Harry?
That is correct. Check out our description.
And
Click on the link marked #Vegas Strong. That'll take you to our donation.
It is the
donation
fund that is being matched 100% up to $1 million by local corporation Zappos.
All right.
And of course, the
I'm
5
in.
Diamond is coming up November 24th through December 10th.
I'll tell your mom you're throwing that $100 away, she sent me.
It's the best time of year for me. I love the 5 Diamond.
It is
All right, here we
enjoyable.
go.
A
We
mere,
work a lot, but it's
mere
a lot of fun.
5-way
Well, we
flop
see you
here
sneak
for
over
$10 a man.
Dean's going to flop an open ender. Rob's got top pair.
Plausible heads-up turn here.
See you on the river.
Did somebody just fold an open end straight draw here?
No, Dean's got the open ender. They just miscalculated his hand.
Okay.
And I believe one of them, got into the pot with the declaration of "See you on the river," but we won't need the river because there's the straight on the turn.
True to form, Rob checks top pair on the turn.
Checks early again.
Is that what that was?
Perhaps declaring his intention to call. Which is certainly what happened the last time he
When
was
your
in this
opponent
spot.
checks out a turn like that, do you like that when the board pair is betting anyway?
If my opponent checks out a turn like that, I do not think that this 9 improved his hand.
Harry, you
And
got
so,
somebody
yeah,
that recognizes you in chat. I think you need to say hello.
Oh, that is certainly my voice, and a warm welcome to Miss Vanessa Cade and all of her lovely Twitch followers. Vanessa, I think, has at least in some part committed to the November 5th and 6th 5510 stream. So
Nice.
we'll see her
Wonderful.
and her gorgeous red hair on the Bellagio Twitch stream.
Ned, you can scroll down the Twitch page below the video feed itself, and there's a link in the description below. 4th, 5th, she says.
No, 5th, 6th.
5th and 6th,
All right,
Sunday, Monday.
Typing that. Dual responsibilities, moderating.
Are we still in this hand? Like, what is
of all trades.
I don't even understand. Like,
My kitty's been
Rob is tank folded top pair correctly.
Well, he learned his lesson.
My kitty's been clipped.
He learned his lesson.
I think that was
That's
a
the
lot
fold-
easier
that's the
fold.
that he couldn't make on the turn for
We might
$600.
just $100
I think that was a lot easier fold than the last one. Without, I don't know why it takes so long. That should have. He was beat 18 away from Sunday.
Huh? This year it wasn't a turn. It wasn't what? It wasn't a turn.
For those of you
I know,
just
I think
joining
work you
us,
have
the
is Jack
game
10.
currently in play, 5, 5, 10 blinds, no
The
limit
worst you have
hold'em.
is Jack
It's a
10,
$500
and I
minimum,
could be Jack 10.
$2,000 maximum. The only other thing of note unique to this one is the 7 deuce game is on. Win a hand with showdown or without, you get $20 from every single other runner that was dealt into the pot.
And we have had the double straddle on, or the $20 straddle on quite a bit. Dean's been very active here,
Yes,
with
he
hands
has.
and without hands.
He elects first end to just limp 2 black 10s here in the cutoff. Rob's going to complete, Corey's going to complete, and Andrew's going to knuckle a trio of powerhouse 6, 7 gappers.
4 opponents is not the spot that I want 2 10s in.
Well, there's going to be fireworks here between Andrew and Corey.
Interesting.
But I don't know. I don't understand Dean's his
Open
play of his
limp?
hand. Yeah, with
Yeah.
tens here. Like I don't. It's just.
to use them. To
Well,
be
you
sure.
know, you get
Remember
to peel
earlier I
one
s-
street, try and
Remember
bang
earlier I
a
said I
ten
don't
off
want I don't
against-
ever want to give the blinds a reason to call, and he didn't even they didn't have to call. They had to check.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow, maybe he knew it was coming.
Now, here's the
my
thing.
goodness.
How much money's going to really go in here three ways
With
with
three-
the queens pairing?
Yeah,
That's almost a great board for Dean, but not quite.
he bets
He'll have to
$20.
settle for the pot. Is he going to get overcalled by Andrew here? Maximum value, $20 river bet.
Oh, that's dirty. That's so dirty.
Realization sets in.
That is so
Once again, I was hoping I wouldn't have to say this twice on the stream, but indeed, the games are on the square here, the Bellagio Bowl.
That was not nearly as bad as that.
That's just a wonky.
The 6 of hearts from nowhere.
Andrew in for 2,000. He's got 2,700 in profit, smashing his claimed previous $1,550 previous career high.
Well, no, they wouldn't have voted up.
Is that the captain? Is that for the captain?
Yeah,
Yes,
the
that's the
captain
captain.
claims his biggest
All right.
win ever was
I
$1,550.
really just want to call him the captain.
Skipper.
And you got
Hope
the
you guys
case
understand.
I had Jack 3.
What's his last name?
That's the first time we've seen Dean limp in position like that, and he had a big hand. Like I don't.
Nobody's done anything.
At the
Yeah,
$20
that was-
value bet with 10s full there, I mean, he did get called by 2 4s full.
I mean, he bet 20 into 60. Okay, it's a little small, but you get bet 30.
Some people get a little deer in headlights even with these 9-9, 8-8, 10-10
Yeah.
hands. You know, you flop so many overcards. It's tough to play a
Who
pot
had the willpower to
flop.
bet 20?
I think
They
that's
put
why
themselves
I'm.
into some weird
I think
spots.
that's why I'm much more likely to be raising there, so I can
Sure, yeah, yeah,
minimize,
absolutely, I agree.
minimize my opponent's range.
I'm saying sometimes just having those hands will freeze a player. You know, they just don't
Yeah.
necessarily know the right way to play.
No, nobody can raise there. It's just funny seeing 3 full houses and a $20 bet on the river and a call. I don't want to call, but like I can't fold like real.
Yeah.
I think you fold for 30 though.
I
I think 30.
Probably
I think
would.
20 might have been the break-in point.
And I don't think they're necessarily wrong for calling with the 4s there, because Dean might have made the same play with 7s or 8s, or a hand thinking that queens and 7s, queens and 8s is the best hand.
It's $20.
Right.
Do you think you're going to win the hand 1 out of 10 times?
Yes.
Or whatever, however
Right.
the pot was. It was like 1 out of 8.
Whatever.
The overcall's getting nearly 10.
Yeah.
yes.
Skipper thinking about getting in there with the queen 10 off.
I mean, if we didn't know Neeme's hand was ace queen, it's not a bad.
I wouldn't know though. I don't know.
It's not a bad call for
Fine
me, considering the hijack. Oh, Greg's got a hand. I like.
3 players.
Then you call your 5. 90.
2 8s and queen 10 defending against the early open.
But I would have.
No, he would got that one. Oh, you're saying yeah.
Neeme getting out flopped by his
Is he continuation here? No, he's going to check.
by his partner in nomenclature.
If
Yeah, then
Andrew
they got the
checks,
worst turn in the
Can't
world.
Greg's
check
got to
this twice,
think.
I don't
You
think.
get there because the queen goes.
But Greg might think he has the best hand here with a pair of eights. And he does have a gut shot.
Mix up a gutter on the
I
turn.
think it's at least worth a
Double
call.
one out?
Well, certainly not a raise, but
Peel
Why not
one
a
would
raise?
street.
definitely be worth a call.
Why not a raise?
I think that you, like you said, the hand favors to be strong too often, and so
Probably have to
when
put
you
it
have a
to
hand with that kind of
poker or
showdown
something.
value, you want to get a showdown. and
But
show
you
it
have
down.
you have 2 flushes on the
You
board,
have to
2
hit
flush
one
draws
out
on the board here.
Just to then be drawing to a one
Yeah,
out on the river.
blowing up a pot. Granted, you're in position
So I
with
had, well, there was 1 queen.
a relatively marginal hand.
So 2 cards, then 1 card.
So much showdown value.
Oh,
In
yeah,
fact,
he
that I
had-
think
he
if
had
Andrew
one
finds a
queen.
bet here somehow, we might see a
No, he had
call.
1 queen. There's 2 on the
I don't think
board.
it'd be wrong for Greg
So you
to
had 2 out.
call a bet here.
Check, best hand wins.
Well, no, because somebody
He
else
had-
said they folded
he
a
had-
queen. Yeah, but he had a queen.
Yeah. So 1 and then 1.
There's still
Yeah.
2 queens left.
Pardon me? Thank you, dear.
Got to bet.
Got to bet that 10 there?
I know you guys straddle. I didn't
I don't know about that.
Can bet. That's,
Certainly an
That's
option.
accurate.
certainly a button capable of being clicked.
I think we got about 10 more minutes here today in the stream. If you
Double straddle?
if you want to, we do have poker rates here. All you got to do is play 6 hours a day in the room.
The triple straddle just leads to
So it looks like we have three more hands tonight.
Last hand's going to be button in the 4th seat. I think we got an Omaha flip of some kind. That's going to happen here possibly at the end. A little gamble.
This looks like the live 20 and the live 40 went on here.
Oh, and it's nice to pick up the queens
And
in the live
Rob
40.
facing the live 40 just looks down to 2 queens and what is now under the gun. You know, first in. Man, Greg just fired 2 threes into the muck for $160.
How you doing?
I like that fold.
I don't know how deep he is, but 160 gonna get the job done? No. Vlad.
Vlad is in there.
Vlad's our habitual.
My goodness.
Guys, if there was ever a candidate for a set over set flop,
What about a hand like Jack 10 of clubs?
Yeah, unfortunately, those club draws and straight draws are out there, so this bet, I think, is
I love the bet.
reasonable.
I love the bet.
do you like it when it's 120 after you open pre for 160 with dead money to your right? That's my question.
Saying the pot sizing is wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a
The bet
quarter pot size bet damn near.
Because now you put yourself in these situations right here. What do you do now? Rob's put himself in some really awkward situations.
There's a lot of hands that can catch up to you, you know.
Any
But,
king 10, king 10 of clubs.
There is not a lot of real great turn cards.
There's a lot of worse that can call you though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And flag.
There we go.
We're talking they're going to do an Omaha flip at the end of the night.
Man, that would have been on me.
That's actually how I built my bankroll.
Double straddle.
Flipping?
Big O. I'd actually won a deep stack tournament. And I was still a supervisor at the World Series of Poker, working graveyard. I walk out one night and some guys are doing flips in the high limit section for $1,000 a hand. I got a couple $1,000 in my hand pocket. Why not? I'm free roll in the summer. I lose the first $1,000, no big deal. I hit a 2-outer to chop the second hand. I did not lose a hand. I either chopped or won it outright for an hour and 15 minutes.
2-outer to chop.
Yeah.
So that was a double straddle.
Yes, sir.
I didn't lose a hand for an hour and 15 minutes.
The live 40 is on once again.
This is like make-up Mondays after a long weekend of bad NFL betting, you know?
Yeah.
3 hands left. Get that triple straddle on.
Yeah.
Let's try and get out of here even or totally empty.
Speaking of, we do have the Play MGM app.
Yeah, right, Vanessa?
Oh, that's funny.
We certainly do have the Play MGM app. As a matter of fact, you can have the Play MGM app if you type !Play MGM in chat. I'll give you all the details.
His calls are just like, wow. He's got quads already somehow.
He's got quads already.
All right, let's see if I
He's
can.
afraid of Andrew.
So Andrew deliberates here for quite a while and likes to just flat call the $40 straddle.
I almost want to call for a royal flush here, but we had a straight flush once, I think. Or have we had a straight flush?
I don't recall.
That's a great flop for nobody's hand.
Dean finds a pair. Sounds like a kid's book.
No comment.
Horton hears a who, and Dean finds a pair. There's a couple straight draws now.
And a couple flush draws.
Queen of Hearts in Andrew's hand. Andrew Neeme.
Why not bet my third nut flush draw
Yeah,
here?
give us the Jack of Hearts or something interesting, huh? Oh boy, here comes the Jack of Hearts.
Keep getting stuck with him. I got it.
70 into 240. Would be surprised not to see Neeme
Yeah, he's getting
take a
that.
card here. There it
Bank.
is. Oh, my goodness.
Oops, a daisy.
The
Not the jack.
aforementioned bank.
Not the jack and a board pair, so I don't think we're going to see an explosion here, but some chips are going to go.
Number 1. Well, actually, it's number two against number 4.
No, board pair.
Oh, board pair. I'm sorry. Yeah. Still straight flushes out there. And, I thought that. I don't know why I thought it. I didn't realize it was 4 hearts.
Why do I
Are
think
we getting a raise out of Rob here? No, not like this, Rob.
pockets, nines or something?
Oh, he's talking. There's going to be no raise. It's going to be colorful.
Rob, stop talking.
I believe the last time the speech
Chips are
went
going
in,
in.
he put a
Rob,
C-bet
stop
in
talking.
with ace high.
A lot of networking, Vanessa. That was all me.
Pairboard. Oh, yeah.
That's cute.
I really didn't want to see a heart on the river.
I don't think I've ever heard that that analogy. I've heard the Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, the Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, granted,
Like,
that's
Aaron Rodgers. I don't
that's-
know if you know that.
that's
but he
dis-
makes poker videos. He lives in
no,
Vegas.
no, that's dispelled because somebody saw him on
I'll bring you the
CNN.
setup and take out the
Or
RFID card.
where this falls flat on his face because I don't know what network the night game
But
is.
the two of them were seen in the same place at the same time. Is that what you're saying? Because that's the only thing that can prove to me that Aaron Neeme is not
Aaron Neeme is
That
not
Andrew
Andrew
Neeme
Rodgers.
I think the point was conveyed.
The fact that
that
Ray-
man looks like another man who
the
plays
fact that
football.
like while
Aaron
Neeme was in the
Neeme.
room, Rodgers was on TV doing the game-winning touchdown for the.
He's got a helmet on. You can't validate.
Yeah. He took the helmet off and jumped up on the tape, the bleachers, screaming and shouting.
Yeah, and then he got in his teleporter, and here he
Right.
was.
Did you ever see Mission Impossible?
Which one?
You can do a lot with faces.
Oh, man. Damn it, Neeme beat my Cowboys today. Well done.
Andrew Neme's truly the last gunslinger.
All right. The 40 on again. Dean's opening the 2 red 10s this
This
time.
ti-
Not
oh,
going to let it
apparently
flat.
the black tens he flats, the red
Well,
tens
I think
he
he's
raises.
mad
That
he
makes
made
sense.
10s full and won so little money. He's planning on making 10s full again. He might as well put some in there. Corey in the tank here.
I like a raise out of Corey
Now-
here.
You think some of this consideration is this game's almost over and I'm going to lock up my $1,500 win? You
Never
think if
win
it was
too
an
much
hour
money.
ago, you think Corey might have
Well, an hour ago,
been
Corey
peeling
didn't have
there?
any choice because he only had $500 in chips
Yeah,
in
that's
front of him.
true.
All right, left hand.
It's going to be the last hand of the night.
Quadruple straddle.
Attorney Donk, that is incorrect.
See, our guy's not here, so you
Everybody throw in $100.
$5 maximum rake at all the MGM properties here included.
We can, I'll do it. What's that? I'll do it
That's Craig. Hey, Craig.
$50 Omaha flip in the last hand. Straight high.
I think if we can't do it, we just, when we're done with this, then we do it anyway.
Are you including promotional drop?
He has to be because
Yeah.
the rake is
not rake.
$5. Yeah, it's
Promo is
yeah.
not rake, it's players'
See, there's
money.
a difference between rake and promos though. Promo money you get back, rake not so much.
Anyway, not an argument that's really
Yeah.
total money dropped out of the pot. Yeah,
Yes, because Bellagio and Aria, we do not have high hands, we do not do jackpots.
there is no promotion.
All right, so button in the 4 seat.
Just do one more hand
Definitely wrapping
after.
up.
Yeah.
This is either the last hand or possibly our Omaha flip.
There's going to be an Omaha flip after this.
They're discussing that right now, it seems like.
$50 Omaha flip.
This is the last hand. After this,
50?
we're going to do the flip.
5-0.
A
Hey, I was
firm,
told
firm
you
number.
straddle, restraddle here, right?
Got to be 5-0. You don't want to Omaha flip for
Corey
parking.
folds the king 10 under the gun. He's trying to get out of here tonight. Oh, Andrew has a king 10 also, but he's going to play his
All right, it's on.
Oh, it's on. Oh, they got the green light from our boss correct there. It's going to be an Omaha flip.
So this $50 no betting?
This is unbelievable. We saw, there it is, exactly on cue. I was going to say we only saw 1-7 deuce this whole night.
Is Neeme going to get it
Is he
twice?
going to go 2 for 2?
He's got ace-ace, you know. Even though it looks like 7 deuce, it's actually ace-ace.
Got a chance of batting 1,000. These guys might just get out of the way
How
saying,
much-
I'm ready to get to
but
this
how much of the
PLO.
fact that this is the last hand of the night make them think that Andrew's just trying to steal a hand here?
One extra burn card.
Some
and
amount.
burns will be my hand.
Oh, there we go. Hey.
We're here with bated breath. The 7 deuce has literally caused John and I to rise to our feet in the studio in anticipation.
I'm fired up for what happened half an hour ago. I don't know about you.
Nothing above deuce. Here we go.
Yes, we are going to stream the flip.
Oh, wait.
Those
are all spades, aren't they?
Yeah, that's a bad flop for him.
Oh, poor Neeme.
He's got to continue here with his deuce.
And he's going to represent.
Just double
He's going to try to
hop the-
represent so much.
All
here,
he's got to do is double hop the full house. It's fine. It's fine.
We've seen it done before.
Can you tell him seat 7's a jerk? He's not a jerk. I'm just kidding.
Seat 7's going to think seat 8's a jerk after he tables this hand. Yeah.
Accurate.
You haven't said the flop is favorable the whole time.
Wow, this is just an incredible amount of speech over the course of the night from Rob in the course of playing pots.
I enjoy his speech play.
That's not good. I don't know if that's a compliment. Should play them
Regardless of
kings,
its
Mike.
implications.
That's up.
No help.
Womp, womp.
No help to Neeme. 7 deuce is not getting through
All
this
in
time.
and Rob folds.
Okay, do
Too
you
soon,
think, though, the
boys.
fact that
Neeme's
Rob
feeling
is giving
pressure.
a lot of speeches tonight with some big hands?
270?
Neeme's opponent is talking to him a lot, but
Yeah.
he cannot just give up on this 7 deuce. There's just too much additional equity.
260.
More than just money, also. Emotional equity.
Because his relationship with poker is on the rocks.
Is Rob thinking about putting the raise in here?
He has to.
Little does he know.
I mean, you're going to throw up in your mouth if a spade peels off, right?
That's
You
accurate.
might have a chance of reading
Okay,
it
there's no
with,
decision.
That is a
There it
raise.
is. GG, Andrew. Give it up.
Andrew found a way to get away from this
Sorry.
with 2 barrels, yet somehow the minimum.
Wait, what?
Oh, I hate when that happens, all spades. Nice hand,
I was
Rob.
like,
50.
that's 7.
All right, here comes. We're going to have an Omaha flip.
Are we gonna show this, or is it
4 cards down, 5 in the middle.
So there's no betting after,
Luckiest
right?
player
Oh, I
wins.
get the burn cards. Come on, you guys.
$50 a man?
Straight high.
Straight
You need
high.
to add
Omaha high.
$400 to be won here.
Yeah, on the end. Andrew's a small blind, so he'll get to show 1 card first. Don't look at your
Oh, do
card.
we?
Don't look at your
Don't
cards.
look at your cards.
Don't look at your cards. We're gonna show them one at a time.
All right, don't look at your cards.
Omaha flip.
All right, sit back there. We got a number 8.
They're going to add a twist to it. Yeah.
Oh.
Twist.
The
Oh my
burns
gosh.
are my cards. Plus 1.
The burns are Chrissy's
Which
cards.
ones, though? The
That's
first two or the
that's a
last two?
All
fair
three?
deal.
All three?
Just
Plus
have
the
4.
last card off the deck. I have to have
Wait,
4.
do we need to put it in front of
It's
the
a fair deal for all involved.
Oh, okay.
It's a great deal
Andrew.
for the charity because Chrissy's donating all the money to charity
Picks
tonight.
up the 4
Which is probably
suited
why it
queens. Dean's got the nice little rundown, 9-7 with the pair and 2 spades. Greg's got a piece of cheese. Oh, this is getting me fired up for next week, guys.
Right, we got 3 out of 8 hands here. Let's see if we can figure out which one is
Oh,
favored.
not in order.
Well, they're not even worried about the minors here. I'm rooting for Dean's little rundown here. To,
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And double suited, middle of the deck.
Oh, you want to peel it?
that is a
Oh,
fair flop for Dean.
Wow, that's a great flop.
Oh.
We don't. Well, no, because
Dean
Dean
has
flopped a straight.
Dean has tabled 1 card. Which card has he tabled?
The 6.
Six.
6
Is
of
it
clubs.
the 6? All right, well.
Got clubs? All right. Wow, the odds of having
Anybody got diamonds? Where are my
Yes.
diamonds at?
You got diamonds yet?
Hey, bring a diamond.
All right.
All right, somebody looks like Dean found diamonds. There it is.
Oh.
Okay, so you got 1 straight at least for sure.
Now we're going to need a board pair
Use your cards.
in order to defeat Dean, I believe.
Andrew's rooting for
Oh,
a
no, not
naked
Dean.
queen to come off here.
Yeah,
Somebody with diamonds.
Yes, spare the board. Yes, spare the board.
Wow.
Or am I?
This happens.
You already have.
Still fair the board.
Nine.
Boom.
Okay, well, we know part of it's over here for
This
sure.
is interesting.
Diamonds for the win. Does anybody have them?
I need a 9.
I need a 9 for Chuck.
Hold on.
That's a nice
We're not
low
done
line.
yet.
Oh my God.
Christy's still got a hand to roll over here.
Yes, she gets the
If
burn
there
and
are
the
no
top card.
diamonds, if there are no diamonds in the hands, let me tell you where they all are. They're in the
Are
burns.
you guys ready for this?
Wait, so now
She's going to slow roll
No.
8
You have to beat
people
her.
all at
This is mine.
once.
One at a time.
Oh, I see a diamond.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, guys.
All right.
We're watching this on the. We're watching this on the delay, just like you guys are.
Diamond.
Oh,
No, she finds the queen of diamonds, but nothing else.
yeah. No, she got 2 pair of aces on
So if
fours.
you won the whole thing?
And then she would have said,
So who did Neeme win this with the straight, or did somebody else have a bigger straight?
I'm pretty sure somebody's got diamonds here. Looks like Andrew in the 1-hole picked up some diamonds there. The rich get richer. He's got a new high water mark for his career. I believe that, guys, is going to wrap it up for us this evening.
Again, you've been watching Bellagio Pots, Bellagio Poker on the Strip. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. We will be back tomorrow night with another 5-5-10
Yep,
game.
tomorrow night, 5-5-10, seats open in the must-move game. Come on
Yes.
down, join us.
Any questions? Of course, feel just hit us up on Twitter at Bellagio Poker. Again, thank you guys for watching. I'm your host, Dallas Scott, my co-host, John Harden, and our associate producer, Mr. Harry Cordisi. Thank you guys.
It's short. You gotta make it up.
Peace.